You were riding on a skateboard.
He did not fully stop at the stop sign. That was when he hit me with his car.
And you know it's pitch black, and you know you have no lights.
It was dark, yes.
Maybe I'll stop and let him go. That ever cross your mind?
I assume he would have stopped.
Well, then you're dumb. Then you're dumb.
This is Judy Justice. Sebastian Perez Izaza is suing fellow student Samarth Patel for damages after being hit by Samarth while riding his electric skateboard.
Court, come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Judge, case 3155, Perez Izaza versus Patel.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Pronounce your last name for me, Izaza.
Perez Izaza.
Okay. Now, you were riding on a skateboard.
I was.
Motorized skateboard?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how much did you pay for it?
I paid $300 for it.
So it was a used one?
It was a refurbished one.
And it is your claim that the defendant ran a red light and hit you while you were riding on your skateboard?
A
right?
stop sign.
Stop sign.
Yes.
And you were not injured?
I had a scrape on my hand.
Okay. You were
Not severely.
Not severely injured. You have no medical records, hospital records,
No.
doctor's reports. Okay. And the skateboard, was it broken?
Yes, it was.
So at best, if your skateboard was broken and you were not injured, then the most damage you had was $300 for your skateboard if it was incapable of being repaired. Would that be a fair statement, sir?
Yes.
And that was if you were in the right with regard to this accident.
Yes.
And it is your position, Mr. Patel, that you did stop at the stop sign that was there.
Yes.
That you did, in fact, stop. You asked him if he was okay. He said he was. You exchanged information. And you were then called back by police to return to the scene because
I was
the
actually
plaintiff...
called back by Sebastian.
Okay. Does somebody have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it, please. When you called the police after you had already exchanged information with the defendant,
Yes.
they have a police log here. It says male was hit by a vehicle in a hit and run. Is that what
Yes,
you
Your Honor.
reported to them?
Yes.
Well, you know that that was not true. This wasn't a hit and run because he stopped and you exchanged information. Is that correct?
I did not tell the police that it was a hit and run. That's what they reported.
Well, that's what it says here in the police log.
Yes.
And it says subject didn't get the plate. Okay. So, Mr. Izaza, you want to tell me what time of the day this happened and the date, please?
This was September 24th, 2023 at 8 p.m.
So it was dark out.
It was dark, yes.
And your skateboard doesn't have headlights.
No, it does
No.
not.
I want you to go over to that photograph, which is a photograph of where the accident, I assume, took place. And I want you to show me where you were riding.
I was riding coming down from the sidewalk through the crosswalk, and that's where I was hit at the stop sign.
You allowed to ride a motorized skateboard on the sidewalk?
Yes, under Texas law, with electric skateboards, you can ride on sidewalks and in bike lanes.
Step back. It is your claim that the defendant was driving and went right through the stop sign.
Yes.
Do you know the speed limit in that area, sir?
On the main road connecting to the stop sign, it is 40 miles per hour. On the road coming into the stop sign where he was driving, it's 20.
Show me.
I do not believe I have a picture of the speed limit sign.
I have the picture, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it. Absolutely right. It's 20 miles an hour. So, Mr. Izaza, what you're telling me is that the defendant did not stop at the stop sign, but was driving at 20 miles an hour and hit you.
Yes.
Square on.
Yes, Your Honor. Not at 20 miles per hour. I believe he probably slowed down, but he still rolled the stop sign.
Oh, well, now you're saying what he did was he slowed down, but didn't completely stop. Because if you were hit with a car going 20 miles an hour head on, you would have been seriously injured, right?
Yes.
So he was not going at this reduced speed of 20 miles an hour. You say he actually slowed down, but not totally stopped.
Yes,
That means that you saw him.
I did.
So why don't you start this story again, sir? Because, you know, I'm a little skeptical of your story. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because we're talking late at night, and we're talking about you riding a skateboard with no lights. We're talking about the defendant who had his lights on because it was dark, so that if you're coming down the road, you can see a car coming.
I did.
Well, all that you left out of your complaint, sir. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So why don't you start this story from the beginning? You're coming down, you're riding your motorized skateboard. It's dark, and you see headlights coming from a direction from where you're going to cross the street in a pedestrian crosswalk.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
I see him coming down. I assume he would have stopped since I had the right of way with the stop sign. But while I was crossing the stop sign, that was when he hit me with his car. And it launched me off the board onto the hood of his car. Then I fell back down onto the pavement. After the accident, the defendant asked if I was okay. We exchanged numbers. He left. And then I called the police for my own safety to make a police report.
for your own safety, why?
I was advised by my parents that it would be a good idea for legal reasons and
Well, A, you weren't injured. B, nothing happened to your skateboard because you rode it home.
afterwards I did not ride my skateboard home.
You carried it home.
My brother came and picked me up. The skateboard was crushed under his front tire.
Sebastian Perez Isaza claims fellow student Samarth Patel struck him with his car while he rode his electric skateboard through an intersection.
Now, you came back and spoke to the police
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
because the plaintiff had called him and given them your information, which
Yes,
you had
Your
given to him. Were you given a citation for that incident, sir?
No, Your Honor.
And did you stop at the stop sign?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Well, let me hear your version of how your car hit him.
So I was
You can go
going
up there
down.
and show me.
I was going down Facilities Way, which is just right down this way. I had stopped. As you can see, he was coming down from this way. I did not see him coming. It was very dark, pitch black. He had no reflectors or headlights, and he basically rode a skateboard into the front of my car.
No, he can't ride a skateboard into the front of your car, sir. That's impossible. You know, I'm not very good at physics, but coming from the side, he did not.
To be more specific, I stopped completely, and
And then you proceeded.
I did proceed, but when he was coming down and getting into the sidewalk, my car was at a complete stop. He then was about here maybe when my car was at a complete stop, and he hit the front of my car.
Your vehicles, his skateboard, and the front of your car collided.
Yes.
Anything else you want to tell me?
He did not fully stop at the stop sign. When he came to the stop sign, he rolled the stop sign and it seemed like he was taking a right turn. And that's
So you're watching all this happen on your skateboard. Is that what you're telling me?
yes.
I want to tell you something. I think that those things are dangerous.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's riding in a 3,000-pound car that has lights, and so you saw it. And I would say to myself, under those circumstances, if I were dumb enough to ride a skateboard, which I am not, I've got a little tiny board here. That's a 3,000-pound vehicle, and it's dark. And my little board doesn't have headlights, so I'm not sure he sees me. Maybe I'll stop and let him go. That ever cross your mind? He didn't see you, but you saw him. That's what you're telling me. Am I right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So why does you think that makes you a plaintiff?
Because I had the right of way with the crosswalk. Pedestrians have the right of way. And
You
he
weren't
should
a
have fully stopped.
pedestrian. You were on a motorized vehicle. So what I'm telling you is you saw him coming, and you know it's pitch black, and you know you have no lights, right?
But there is a lamppost next to the sidewalk lighting up the sidewalk. And I believed he saw me.
You mean all that went through your mind when you're seeing his car coming down the street? You think he saw you because there was a light somewhere on the street?
Yes.
Well, then you're dumb. Then you're dumb. Because what you're processing is, I can either stop my skateboard and wait a second to make sure that I can cross safely, or just plow ahead and go like this. Good luck to me. Which is what you did. And to me, You got to say, thank you, good Lord, that I wasn't seriously hurt. Not sue him. Thank you, good Lord. I'm going to use my brains the next time. If I'm riding a skateboard and there's a 3,000-pound car coming and I have no lights and it's dark outside, I may have the right of way, but if one of my grandchildren, I would hope, are walking and they have the right of way, but it's pitch black and they're not wearing reflectors all over their body, I would stop at that corner to make sure the car stopped. You don't think that that's a good idea? Okay. Be thankful, Mr. Azaza, that you weren't seriously injured and that all you suffered was a skateboard. Next time, be a careful rider when you ride a motorized vehicle that has no lights or reflectors. Goodbye. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
When he was coming, I didn't see him at all because it was dark and he came out of nowhere, basically.
I tried to slow down a bit, but by the speed I was going, by the time I was at the crosswalk, it would have been too late.
Not to ride skateboards in areas they shouldn't be ridden in.
I'll be a lot more careful at night, especially since I'm harder to see.
Yeah, obviously I'm happy he's okay, so.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't seriously injured by the accident, but I'm glad I'm here.
So these are my thoughts.
Okay.
Judges are only people. We all bring our life's experiences to whatever job we do.
Yeah.
And my life experience with people who ride motorized skateboards on the sidewalk where people are walking is they don't understand that as between the pedestrian and you're riding a motorized vehicle, they have to watch out for you.
Yeah.
Well, this seems like a very nice young man. He's nice. He's a college kid. He seems respectful. He seems lovely. He wasn't injured. Next time, be smart.
Yeah.
You're going to ride a skateboard? Be a defensive skateboard rider.
Agreed.
You asked to put the van in her name because you have unpaid fines.
Okay.
That's against the law. You knew that he couldn't have a car in his name.
I knew that he had a lot of tickets.
So you were an accomplice. That's not a question. That's a statement.
This is Judy Justice. Edward Taylor is suing his former friend, Sabra Crockett, for the cost of a van.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3065, Taylor versus Crockett.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Taylor,
Yeah.
I read your complaint. I have several questions.
Okay.
When was the last time you owned a car in your name?
October of last year.
What kind of car did you own?
2010 Lexus.
What happened to that car?
The upper and lower control arms were broke, and I couldn't drive it because I felt that it was too unsafe.
How long did you have that car?
About 4 months.
Was it insured?
Yes.
By whom?
I don't have the name of the insurance company with me, but it was insured.
Prior to that, you had that car for 4 months. What was the car you had previous to that?
Previous to that, 2000 Cadillac SDS.
On either of these cars that you had, either the Cadillac or the Lexus, had you accrued tickets and fines?
Yes.
How much?
I believe my tickets are around a couple thousand.
On both of those cars?
No, not on those cars, from cars prior.
I'm talking, well, you couldn't have registered either one of those cars, sir, if you had $2,000 in fines on other cars.
I have a photograph of the picture of the registration.
Of what?
To the Lexus on my phone.
Did you pay the $2,000 in fines on previous cars?
No.
No. Now we can get started with this case.
Okay.
This case says that you purchased a van. For whatever reason you purchased the van. The defendant was a friend of yours. You asked to put the van in her name.
She asked.
No, that's not right. Dear.
Okay. Go ahead.
Get it together, sir.
All
Would you
right.
please? I'm going to be respectful to you. You be respectful to me.
Amen.
Good. You asked to put the car in her name because you had unpaid fines and tickets and couldn't have it in your own.
Okay.
That's not an okay. That is a yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, just as long as we're getting it together.
Okay.
And she did. You bought the van. You paid $2,400 for it.
No, ma'am.
How much did you
The
pay
total
for it?
price, I have the bill of sale here, evidence.
It says here in your complaint, sir, I paid $2,500 for the van.
Yes, I made a payment on the van since then of
May I see,
$200.
may I
Yes.
see the papers that he's showing me? I went to visit my friend in April 2022, who was a bishop, parked next to an old van that the church owned and asked if they would be willing to sell it. He said the church would sell me the van. I paid $2,500 for the van. That's your sworn complaint.
Okay,
Okay is not,
Yes.
okay is great.
right, but they decided that they wanted $2,900. I do have, Your Honor, I do have the receipt.
I don't, listen to me, sir.
Okay,
I don't care.
all right.
The reason you put the van in the defendant's name was because legally you were not allowed to put it in yours because you had unpaid fines. What happened, according to the defendant, is that in the time that you had the van, which was from what month and year to what month and year? In your
May the 1st of 2022, and she brought the police
When did she take the van back?
May the 7th.
May-
the 7th of this year.
And in that year, according to the defendant, she took the van back because you had, again, acquired a lot of tickets on it.
2 tickets, which I paid.
Really?
Yes, I have the receipt.
Well, and she's going to have to show me. She said you acquired $1,600 worth of tickets. Is that what you wrote?
Yes, I did write that, Your Honor.
Do you have proof of that?
I have proof as what the tickets are and what it would cost to get this van in shape.
No, that's not what I asked you. I said,
I have some here, yes,
just
I
a
do.
second.
Okay.
Answer. At this point, he owed me $1,600 in toll fees.
Please?
Do you have proof that he, in that year, he accrued while driving the van
No, Your Honor,
Why not?
because the $1,600 was including everything that needed to be added to this van.
No, Miss Crockett.
Yes.
No, Miss Crockett. That's not what you said here. You said you took it. I'm going to read
Yes,
you
I
what
know.
you wrote.
Yes, dear.
At that point, he owed me $1,600 in toll fees, and I didn't trust him to do the right thing. Before the van was completely worthless, I decided to have the police come and get it.
Yes.
So how much were the fees? You said toll fees. How much could you prove that he had accrued in toll fees? You didn't spend any money for this van. And I absolutely believe that you should have taken it back. Under normal circumstances, you should have taken it back if he accrued any tickets on the van because you're liable for that.
Yes.
And he's got a miserable history with paying his fines.
Yes. Yes,
Do you
Your
understand?
Honor. Yes,
Yes,
I
Your
do
Honor. Yes,
now.
Your Honor. How much
Yes.
can you prove he had in toll fees?
The tickets that I have here, pictures of.
Well, show me.
Okay.
Show me. I didn't ask you for anything. Are you showing me text messages? I want to see toll fees.
That's all I have here is the text messages
From whom?
between Edward and myself and some pictures of the tolls, the tickets that I sent to him through the
I would like
phone.
to see the
Okay.
tickets that you sent him. I don't want to see text messages.
Edward Taylor claims his former friend, Sabra Crockett, owes for the cost of a van. Sabra says the van was stolen and she owes him nothing.
You're the owner of the car. You would have gotten notification of toll fees.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Well, then I want to see them. Look that up. Give me the low range.
1,600 to 4,000.
Miss Crockett, it's taking you too much time to find what was clear.
All right, here's two, my dear.
There's
I have
two what?
more. Here you go, young man.
Yeah. Well, I have one, and she says to you that she got a collections notice on a ticket from September 13th in the amount of $110.17. So you need to call this lady. And then on May 5th, she says to you, your balance from other tickets would be $601.17.
No, ma'am. I have 2 tickets here. One that's $33 from Trenton. I was in Trenton. I have one that says $110
And $10.
$10.17.
Right.
I have letters here that state that she received the money.
Just a second. When did you get the fines?
I didn't get pulled over. This was like from a camera shot. And there was no toll booth in Trenton. This
How
was
come
an
it went?
overhead
Just
camera.
a second. It went to collections, sir. So if she was notified of a ticket, listen to me.
Okay.
If she was notified of a ticket, believe me, this lady notified you right away.
No, she didn't. I can prove it.
Go ahead.
The letter that she sent me said that the ticket was September the 13th, 2022. 7 months later, I have here from her one ticket that says $110.17 and another ticket that says 33. That's $143.17.
I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about why did it go to collections?
Because she didn't turn the money in that I stuck in her mailbox. And I have proof here that I stuck the money in her mailbox.
Just a second. On what date did you put money in her mailbox?
I have it here on March the 15th. It says...
Just a second. March?
Yes.
Just a second.
March the 26th at 5:15, I got a text message from Miss Moore. I just got it this morning, the money you put in my mailbox. I got it, but you are still late. I will send you the picture of the ticket. Now, this is the first time I gotten a ticket from her, period. The one for 33 and the one for 110. This other thing about $116, she can't show you that she sent it to me. She cannot. For her life, she can't show you that. Here are the two tickets that she sent, and on my phone, I have a balance of $60.17.
Oh, well, maybe
From
this
her.
says 60, although it looked like 601.17.
Oh, no, $60.17.
60?
It's $60, Your Honor.
$60.17?
Yes, dear.
Yes, not
Okay.
600.
That was on Friday, May 5th.
Yes. On Monday, May the 1st, I paid her $182 for insurance. Here's the letter that she sent me about the insurance
May I?
due.
This is in...
Here's another one.
Just a second.
Okay.
Let's start with this, Mr. Taylor. The fact that you tried to scam the Department of Motor Vehicles starts you off with a problem. Do you understand?
Yes.
With me. Starts you off with a problem. Because if you know that you're not allowed by law to register a car in your name because you have unpaid fines from whatever state you're from. What state are you from?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
From Pennsylvania. You have unpaid fines. And you try to circumvent the law by physically owning a car, having it in your possession, and being the sole driver of the car, and putting it in someone else's name to circumvent the fact that you haven't paid tickets, doesn't put you in a good place here.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
We understand that. It's like buying a car without a driver's license and saying, you know what? This is the car I want. I have no driver's license because they took my license away for drunk driving, but I need a car to get around. So I'll give you the money, you buy the car, and I'll drive it. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's against the law. So when people come into court who have already broken the law, and you ask me to find in your favor and return a car to you that you can't own, you understand? We have a problem. That's where we're starting from. Now, similarly, you were an accomplice because you knew that he couldn't have a car in his name. Are you denying that you knew he couldn't have a car in his name?
Yes, I am denying that, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Now you tell me why you thought he, uncross your arms, why you thought he needed the car put in your name rather than him owning the car himself.
Okay, this is how it went, Your Honor.
No, I asked you a question.
Yes.
I mean, do you own a car?
Yes, I do.
Did you pay for it?
Yes, I did.
Is it in your name?
Yes, it surely is.
It surely is. Who is this person?
This is my girlfriend, my neighbor, and my
Just a
friend.
second. Does she own a car?
Yes, she does.
Is it in her name?
Directly, yes, it is.
Okay, so you know that if he bought a car with money
Yes,
and said to you, put it in your name, there had to be a reason.
definitely.
What did you think the reason was?
When I got to the Allstate office to get the title change, he approached me and said, could you put it in my name because I have a lot of tickets?
That's what I just said.
Yes,
That's
but I
what
didn't know that. I knew that he had a lot of tickets. I said, I'm going to give you 3 months.
It doesn't make any difference. What you did was you knew he couldn't put it on cross. You knew he couldn't put it in his name because, for the same reason the drunk driver couldn't put a car in their name, they had no license. He wasn't allowed to own a car unless he paid off his fines on his old cars.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you were an accomplice in that by putting it in your name. That's what I'm telling you. That's not a question. That's a statement. There's a difference between a question and a statement. I'm making a statement to you.
Yes, you are.
You knew?
No,
he
I
was
did not know, dear.
Oh, yes, you did.
No, I did not, because when I met Mr. Taylor, he was driving a Chrysler 3000.
Who cares? He told you he couldn't put it in his name because
Yes,
of
he
the
did.
tickets.
For the tickets.
That's what.
Yes, dear.
That's exactly what I said to you. He
Yes,
told
you
you he
did.
couldn't put it in his name because of the tickets.
Edward Taylor is accusing his former friend, Sabra Crockett, of refusing to pay for his van after it was stolen. Sabra says she did Edward a favor, and he still owes her for parking tickets.
So, Mr. Taylor, I am disinclined to help you, but I want to know what happened to this van, just out of curiosity. Now, I know the van was stolen once and recovered. It was stolen a couple of months after you were driving it.
6 weeks after I brought it.
6 weeks. It was sad. And then you got it back, got it out of impound, a couple of parts or whatever. But you were still driving it because you drove it for a year after it was stolen the first time. You took it back more recently because you say you got these tickets, whatever. You took it back.
Yes.
It wasn't smart of you to do it in the first place if you knew that he was breaking the law by having this car.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened to the van?
I retrieved the van
Yes, I know you did.
and with the police.
On what date did you go and get the van?
I got the van on May 3rd, 2023.
No.
Where is it now?
Somebody stole it, Your Honor,
From where?
in front of my house.
Do you have a police report?
Yes, I do, dear.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Here you go, Your Honor.
Thank you.
This young man here.
Okay. And Allstate is the insurer.
Yes, dear.
Did you advise Allstate that it was stolen?
Yes, I did.
And what happened?
They gave me a claim number and said they'll call me in a couple days.
And did they call you? Or are you waiting for the call?
I was waiting for the call, yes, dear.
Oh, well, then you have to wait, sir. If you get any money, you have to give it to him. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I have talked to Allstate, but it was only, liability on it? No other?
Well, that would not be my problem. That would be his problem. You put insurance on this.
Yes, I
Right.
paid
Well,
every month.
it depends upon what kind of insurance you have.
$80
If you get any money back from Allstate for the van, listen, this just happened. We're talking about something that happened 23 days ago. You're not a priority for Allstate. So I don't know whether they're going to give you any money or not. It depends upon his insurance. All I'm telling you is if you get any money for this stolen van, it belongs to him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Has he cleared up all the tickets that are in your name?
No, dear.
How much is outstanding in tickets
Probably-
that you can prove?
Probably $50.
I don't care about $50. I mean, I
neither.
care about $50.
Okay.
I care about $50, but not as much as this tape is costing to tape this case. So you understand that
Yes.
if you get the check and if you had insurance to cover your van, sir, pay attention. If you had insurance to cover your van, I'm directing her to turn that money over to you if she gets it.
Yes.
If she doesn't get it, you get nothing.
Okay. But how would I know if she got it?
Well, you trusted her to put the car in her name, didn't you?
But I can't, Your Honor, can I show you this here where I don't owe anything for tickets?
I don't care.
No,
you
I'm just
understand?
saying.
I don't care. You
Okay.
do owe for your old car's tickets.
Okay, yes.
You
but I'm
do
saying
owe
attorney-
thousands of dollars for your old car's
Yes,
tickets.
I agree.
All I'm saying to you is that if you had full coverage on this van instead of just liability, if you hit somebody, she should get a check for a stolen car. If you do not have that on the van, she will not. So I would suggest that we will prepare an order for this car that you can send to Allstate, which is your insurer, that if there is a check, her insurer, which if there is a check, that check should be forwarded to you. Whether they will do that or not, I don't know. But I doubt very much whether you were paying for anything other than the minimum liability on this van. Would that be right?
Yeah, that's right. But
Then you would get nothing. Then you would get nothing. She doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Got stolen.
I knew nothing about it being stolen.
Well, just so that you
Until
know,
now.
this is the police report. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take it back now. Got it?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Well, the judge made a good decision.
I think the judge did a marvelous job.
Well, I just didn't pay it. That's just telling the truth.
Because he knew I had a valid driver's license and I could drive and he couldn't.
She never intended on giving me the title.
I went to his church and I had the police to meet me there and I had the title, registration, and the insurance card.
I learned that you can't trust everybody.
This is a lesson learned. Do not sign for anything unless you check out all the facts.
Okay, I just have a little bone to pick with your analogy of, I understand the analogy that you made between driving drunk and covering for someone who's unable to drive under the law for having a DUI or, you know, something of that nature. But when you liken it to parking tickets, I understand under the law equally that person would be unable to register a car for those two reasons. But I feel like with a DWI, you're making an active choice to get behind the wheel when you know that you're drunk and you're endangering the lives of others. With parking tickets, there's a lot of factors, socioeconomic factors, that play into why someone might not be able to afford their parking tickets. Now, before you get to the counterpoint of he bought 2 more cars after that, I'm not saying that this situation warrants my counterpoint, but I do think that it's something to consider, is that a DWI is something very serious, that you're taking an active role in your own criminal behavior,
you're
endangering others.
You're endangering others. I would agree with you. When you come into a court of law and equity, equity means you want a fair result to happen. So you're sort of throwing yourself on the court and saying, I want you to do justice. And before you do that, you're supposed to come in with
clean hands.
Right. And he clearly couldn't do that because the whole scheme with the car is to avoid personal responsibility, paying your tickets so that you can have a car, so that you don't park next to a fire hydrant in a handicap spot, you know, in a fire zone. You're not supposed to do that. That also places people at risk, but not in the same way as drunk driving. But it's...
I understood the analogy.
You're not supposed to, not here anyway, break the law and then come into court and ask for my help in equity when you've broken the rules.
The same court you're defrauding.
Yep. And she was really a co-conspirator.
I don't even think she realized until you said it 3 times.
No, I don't think she realized. She realized it either. I'm not sure. She was supposed to be a church member or whatever, a friend. I'm not so sure that there wasn't a little bit more there. I don't know. I don't know. But I certainly wouldn't, for anyone, put a car in my name and be responsible for it and let you drive if you have a history of being irresponsible.
You wouldn't even do that for me, I don't think.
No, you don't have to think about that. I would not do that for you. I wouldn't put a car in my name for you.
Maria Gonzalez and her son, Noe Ramirez, are suing Maria's daughter's ex-fiancé, Michael Cortez, for wedding costs and vandalism to Noe's car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3108, Gonzalez Ramirez versus Cortez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're Miss Gonzalez.
Yes, I am.
This is your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your daughter and Mr. Cortez were engaged to be married.
That's correct.
How old is your daughter?
She's 28.
And you, sir?
27.
How did you meet?
We had met on a dating app back in October 2020.
Okay. And when did you become engaged?
It was sometime in 2022. It might have been around April.
Did you give her a ring?
I did.
Your Honor, they were engaged in September of 2022.
Did it sound better?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, this is what the case is about. Ms. Gonzalez, it is your claim that wedding plans started to be made. You were paying for the wedding, and he broke off the wedding and broke off the marriage, future marriage, and you believe he is responsible for the non-refundable deposits that you put down on venue and maybe music, flowers, I don't know what. And that's part of your claim. You, sir, are her son, her brother, and it is your claim that Mr. Cortez vandalized your car.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cortez denies that he vandalized your car. So I will hear your proof with regard to that. Mr. Cortez says that there is some property. Your harassment allegations don't reach the level of harassment, sir, but you claim that they have certain property that belongs to you.
Yes, and I do have a text message from Kristen Ramirez stating to one of my friends that she has my property and has refused to give it.
Oh, so that will make my job much easier when I get to your counterclaim. Okay, so Ms. Gonzalez, you started to plan a wedding.
What happened was they came in and they spoke to Kristen's father and myself. They announced their engagement. And so we congratulated them. We said we would pay for the majority of the cost, but that we did have some things that we wanted them to pay for.
That's okay.
So at the time, I wasn't too familiar with Michael. And so just as precaution, I did ask him if he would be okay if he broke off the engagement, that he would reimburse for the venue, because the venue is something that is not always reimbursed.
Did you ever have that discussion with her?
No.
I can't tell you how many weddings that I've made, Miss Gonzalez. Children, grandchildren, made and paid for. I have never had that discussion with any of the future spouses. If you break it off, you have to reimburse me for down payments.
It was
I never.
Yeah.
I never.
Just the way that he was acting, it made me feel like I needed that reinsurance.
I don't believe you, actually, at all. Because if I, as a mother, you have two children?
Yes, I do.
If you have two children, if I had certain reluctance about either the character or the commitment that one of my children's future mates have, it wouldn't be about returning my money. I would sit down with my daughter and say, you know, I'm not getting a great feeling about this guy. I have a feeling he's going to slip. And if I had a feeling I was going to slip, and if you wanted to extract that promise to him, should have put it in writing.
Right.
Because it doesn't make sense to me based upon my own personal experience that that's not the way a new marriage starts with, by the way, if it doesn't work out, you're going to pay me back for this, right?
Right. Well, my means are limited, so.
So are his.
Yeah. And so what we did was we had an agreement. We asked.
Just a second, show me.
We
show
had
me.
a verbal.
Just show me.
Well,
I'm telling you, I don't buy it. But I'm going to listen to him.
Okay.
And I'm going to listen to any proof that you have. Okay. See any proof that you have where he committed to paying for the wedding in the event that he broke up the engagement.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? She just told me that you said to her at some point, I will pay for your non-refundable stuff if something happens. Tell me your version of it.
So what she said is not true. What happened was on the night of October 1st, I had gone to her house to speak with Kristen, my girlfriend at the time. I wanted to talk to her about a prenup. My witness here.
Just a second. You wanted to talk to her about a prenup. Why?
Earlier in the year, Kristen made demands towards me saying she wanted to buy a house, but she only had $200 in her savings account and I had $40,000. So she was expecting me to make the down payment. And at the time I had savings, I had 2 cars, I have a master's degree. She was kind of expecting me to provide for her. And at the time I did not feel that was fair.
You mean that you were going to use your cash to buy a house?
Yes.
That was going to be in both your names?
Yes.
And you wanted a prenup so that you would get whatever you put into the house out of it. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, because at the time she was pretty much telling me where we had to buy the house. It had to be within a certain...
Just a second. Would you sit down a minute and let your sister stand up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yo, Kristen.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Kristen, I want you to tell me about this house business. You had no money.
I don't have savings, but I had a job.
But you don't have money. You don't have savings. He had savings. You were living with your parents. You discussed with him buying a house?
We did in the future. It wasn't about buying a house. We had to have some form of living situation when we get married. That was the expectation. And that's what my mom discussed with him too, was that it wasn't him needing to buy a house then and there and in a certain area. We just needed to be able to live somewhere because we're getting married. How are we going to live in like our
Well, you work, you just told me, and he works. So you find an apartment and you each contribute to the rent and the expenses.
Yeah.
Is that what was the intention?
Yeah, and we're both on the lease agreement, and I did pay half, or I paid as much as I could.
Did you live together?
We lived together, and then my brother also offered to be on to kind of help with costs too. So it was
kind of help with costs. You mean he lived there?
He also took up the spare bedroom.
Well, that would be a yes. He lived there.
Yeah.
So I have a copy of the lease. It's myself, Maria Gonzalez, and Kristen Ramirez at the time.
Okay, so you're on the lease.
Yes, I co-signed for him because he was hesitant in getting and securing a housing. We had less than 2 months, Your Honor, for the wedding, and I was very truthful with him, and I told him, you cannot live in our house. You need to secure housing. That was our agreement in the beginning, that you would be responsible for housing. I never said anything about buying a house or anything. It's just
you got a butt out of your children's business. You have a 28-year-old daughter. What are you giving him instructions for?
Because, Your Honor, he wasn't doing anything. He had a room.
Well, that's up to her.
Right.
That's not up to you. I mean, your daughter's almost 30. Why is that up to you when she's got a fiance? She's got to figure out what she's going to do with him. What did you have to do with that?
When we were discussing the wedding, we did say these were the expectations. You were to have a place for them to stay. It didn't matter where they were going to stay. I never said anything about you have to buy a house or you need to get an apartment or anything. It's just a stable
What
place.
other expectations did you indicate to him that you were expecting?
That he pay for the wedding license and that he pay for his clothing. That's the only thing that we asked.
You mean for the license and for his clothing for the wedding?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Maria Gonzalez and her son, Noe Ramirez, claim Maria's daughter's ex-fiancé, Michael Cortez, owes for wedding costs. Michael is countersuing for the return of property and personal threats.
Okay. You were telling me a story, and let's get to it rather quickly, because what day is it today? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Something about sushi for lunch on Wednesday. So you went to the house to discuss a prenup.
Yes.
And what happened?
Originally, at the time, me and Kristen agreed that we wanted to do a prenup, and this was something that she discussed between myself and my dad a year ago. At the time, Kristen was the one who wanted the prenup.
Because she was going to inherit a house.
Yes.
What house were you going to inherit?
I just want to correct that I did not discuss a prenup with his father when we discussed the
No,
engagement.
you discussed it, just the two of you.
It was between us and my therapist.
There was a breakup, Your Honor, in February, and it was between them.
Okay, we're going to forget about these wedding costs. Right. I could see the handwriting on the wall a long time ago. You should have too.
Your
Would
Honor,
you tell me to forget it? Not happening.
I do have messages that he was offering his Mercedes for payment reimbursement for the wedding.
Okay.
I do have.
I'll take a look at that. Would you mind telling me what happened when you went to the house to talk about the prenup? That's what you were in the middle of.
Yes. So we had discussed about wanting to do a prenup, and we agreed. And then about 20 minutes later, the mom came in to the apartment, started blowing up on me, saying, "How dare I make her daughter work? How dare I make her daughter pay rent? How dare I force her to sign a prenup?"
Okay. Kristen, you remember that discussion?
It was not.
Do you remember the discussion?
Yes.
All right. Just answer my question. These very easy.
Okay.
Things are common sense. You were having a discussion with him about a prenup. Originally, you wanted a prenup because of an inheritance that you anticipated. What inheritance did you anticipate?
I anticipated my father giving me a house.
And is that what started the prenup discussion?
No.
Did you ever discuss that with him?
No, not till that night.
I'm talking about that night. Do you remember that discussion?
Yes.
Did your mother come in during the course of that discussion at any time?
We went to his apartment, to our shared apartment.
Who went?
She came in. Me and my mother. He had left our house to the apartment.
So he went to the apartment, and you and your mother went to the apartment. And do you recall what your mother was indicating to Mr. Cortez as regard to the expectations she had, or the two of you had, with regard to what he was going to do to take care of you?
Yes.
And what did your mother say?
She sat him down and she said that the way he had been acting up until this time was not acceptable, that it was originally stated that if he was having cold feet, we gave him multiple times if he wanted to postpone the wedding, that he could. And he kept saying, no, I want to keep going with the wedding date, even after we had broken up and he wanted to come back. And my mom reiterated to him that he was supposed to pay for the venue if he forfeited the wedding. And she was discussing with him the verbal abuse that she witnessed leading up to this event. Because he knows I have really bad anxiety, and that she did not like seeing him use that against me when it came to me driving, when it came to me trying to find a better job, when it came to like trying to provide for the family. I tried my best as much as I could. And that's what she discussed with him on that night. It had nothing to do with all these expectations. It was just, I needed help being able to speak for myself, because like, I don't know if you can see I'm shaking. Like, I need help sometimes in order to help myself. And that's what she was here for.
He wasn't buying it. Do you understand? It's too bad. You said you had proof in writing that he somehow, someplace agreed to pay for the deposits that you had. I'd like to see what proof you have of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Just show me.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't show me anything other than that. Just show me that.
Yes, ma'am. Now, the first one is
Just a second. Who wrote this?
Michael Cortez.
He wrote it.
Yes, and he left it in my mailbox.
October 13th, 2020, paid for the down payment for a home for me and Kristen. Both names on it. I would be putting down 40 to 50K. If we have kids, it'll go to them. To compensate for the wedding, I would be willing to financially support Kristen if she needs to focus on herself. Whether it's bills or rent, I would be willing to help. In addition, I would pay for a new wedding. I don't know what that means.
Your Honor, I never wrote that letter.
This?
Correct. I never wrote it or signed any letters.
He placed that in my mailbox.
Kevin, would you go over this? Give him this pen, and I want you to write the following. I don't want to throw away. Okay, that's all. Yeah, you wrote it. Well, this is a very nice letter. I don't know why you would deny writing this letter. This is a very nice thing. He does not say he's going to pay for a wedding.
He said he would pay for another wedding.
No, a new wedding.
On the text messages that he sent.
Just a second.
Yes.
Now I'm going to read the text message. This is nothing except a very nice letter from him. No, doesn't say here that he's going to pay for a wedding. He wants to make it work out. He would love that so much. I can offer my Mercedes since the front bumper is fixed and valued at $10,000. I would be willing to do couples therapy with Kristen, pay her bills, and do everything I can to make it right, only if this is what Kristen wants. I'll even sign contracts so we are all on the same page, but I understand you don't want me in her life. And if she feels the same way, I want my pictures taken down tonight. So this does not support your argument. If you're not going back to me because of the money, I can give you the Benz. It's worth $10,000. What's that about?
I'm not too sure, Your Honor.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Cortez?
Yes.
These emails suggest to me that you were very much in love with the plaintiff's daughter.
Yes.
And you wanted to make it work.
Yes.
And how did it not work? What happened?
The night of October 1st, when the mom blew up on me, she made all these threats towards me about legal action, physical harassment.
And is that when the wedding was called off?
Yes.
He says that I threatened him. I did not threaten him.
Whether you threatened him or not, you went there with your daughter.
I did.
And at that point, after this discussion, after these emails, which I see, and his because he clearly felt strongly for your daughter. That's when the wedding was called off.
Yes.
Well, he didn't walk away.
Yes, he did.
I don't
he
think
left
so.
that.
Yeah.
He left that day, that night after our discussion. He took everything out of the apartment and he left, Your Honor.
Okay.
He left a note that said, "I'm sorry," with his wedding ring on the pillow on the bed.
Fine. I would too. Don't get involved if your daughter's getting married, and I wouldn't do it if your son's getting married either. It's none of your business. Stay out of it. Keep your nose out of it. You can sit down now. Stand up. Noe,
Yes.
you were living in the apartment with Mr. Cortez that your mother co-signed for when your sister was supposed to get married and blah, 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 blah. You went to live with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say that something happened to your car. On what date did something happen to your car?
It was the 27th of November.
Of October, November.
If you don't speak, that's your problem. You get too much involved in your adult children's business.
Maria Gonzalez and her son, Noe Ramirez, are accusing Maria's daughter's ex-fiancé, Michael Cortez, of refusing to pay for deposits after their wedding was canceled. Michael is countersuing for the return of property and personal threats.
Okay, November 27th.
Yes, Your Honor.
When had you seen your car prior to seeing it damaged?
That morning. I have pictures right here, if you'd like to see them.
I would, but first tell me what the nature of the damage was.
It was you scratched into the trunk of my car, and my back right tire was slashed.
And what evidence do you have that the defendant had anything to do with that?
We don't make enemies. Like, we don't have enemies. He's the only person.
Is what you're telling me you have no evidence to support your accusation that he keyed your car?
We do not have video footage, no.
I didn't ask you for video footage. I asked you for any evidence. Somebody saw it. He admitted it.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, well, then you don't have a case. You understand that, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did he owe you $1,000 for?
The $1,000 was for the damage to the car.
Did he ever acknowledge that he would give you $1,000?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, then he doesn't owe you anything. Okay, I can deal with that quickly. I have a counterclaim. The counterclaim says that they have property of yours. What property do they have?
Kristen Ramirez had sent a text message to one of my friends claiming that she has my property. I don't know exactly what all she has. She's refused to talk to me.
Just a second.
Yes.
You can sit because your case is dismissed. You actually understand that because you have no proof that he caused any damage to your car. Kristen, stand up, please. Before I take a look at the text that he has, what property, if any, do you have that belongs to him? Is not an answer. Let's go. What property do you have that belongs to him?
I believe he left a birth certificate at my house.
Where is it?
It was in the safe in my room.
So you have his birth certificate. What else?
I'm not too sure what else he left in there. He's the one that put them in the safe.
He says he has a list, which I will look at, that you sent to someone of items of his that you have. And I'm asking you, before I look at the list, what other items of his do you have?
Other than that, I have no idea. I haven't looked
Okay,
at
now
it.
I'll see the document that you're referring to. She's going to give you back your birth certificate.
Okay, I have it. It's going to be this message.
So far, I don't see what it is.
Right. It's not listed in there. She just acknowledges that she has my stuff. She kept it vague.
She's going to give you back your birth certificate. It's sort of misleading, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now we're going to get back to one other little thing that's gnawing at me before I finish this case. So with regard to your belongings, she's going to return to you within 5 days. Make sure it's sent and doesn't get lost in the mail. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any paper she has that's in your safe, including your birth certificate. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now, I just want to get to this Mercedes-Benz. What was the Mercedes-Benz that you were offering for, sir? I can turn over the Mercedes-Benz. I want you to tell me something that I can believe.
Your Honor, I'm not too sure. I do have a receipt from the wedding venue that I emailed. They said that even if she were to cancel, she is, they accommodate with rescheduling. So it's not like she's out of all her money.
But she's just got to find another groom.
I mean, she could always throw a birthday party.
No, she can have another groom. You still haven't given me something that I believe with regard to the Mercedes-Benz. You mentioned it several times.
To be honest, Your Honor, I'm not too sure.
Okay. Well, You know, I usually don't like to split the baby in half, but it seems to me as if that there is some evidence that you agreed to participate in the event that something happened with the venue. And I don't necessarily think that you are 100% responsible for the breakup of this relationship. I think there was a lot of problems and interference on both sides. How much was the venue, the non-refundable venue, cost?
$7,050.
Okay. Mr. Cortez,
Yes.
while it's usually not my practice to leave anybody happy that comes into my courtroom, I like when everybody is miserable when they leave.
Yes, Your Honor.
But she had $7,000 worth of expenses as a result of this wedding. And I actually think that it's fair that you each pay half of that. So I'm issuing an order for $3,500 for the plaintiff. She's going to return all of your papers and documents that she has. This case is now over.
This court is adjourned.
The mom made all these threats and harassments towards me, and that's exactly why I left the wedding.
He's not man enough to be my daughter's husband.
This is a woman that I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and she let her mom ruin the relationship.
I feel that God gave us a blessing in removing this piece of trash out of our lives.
I want to move on with my life, so as long as I can get out of my hair, I'd be happy with that.
There is someone better for my daughter out there.
I tell you, that was very sad. Not legally sad.
Yeah.
It was a socially sad case because I think he really legitimately cared for her. I mean, the letter that he wrote, and he clearly wrote it. I don't know why he would deny that he wrote it.
Did a little forensic testing out there of your own.
Yeah, you're right, a little forensic testing. I know that's particularly kosher, but it looked right. But it was a really kind letter.
Yeah.
He did, in fact, talk about the Mercedes. This was before he left. He said, I don't want there to be this fighting back and forth because evidently it was clear that this was not the first breakup that they had. And it was very sad. And she, I think, actually cared for him a great deal.
Yeah.
Mama.
Too many hands.
Mama got in the way. She was trying to be very protective of her daughter, who clearly has an issue or two. But she was clearly trying to be protective and...
Went a little overboard.
Listen, if I were a young guy, and he's actually a year younger, I think than his ex-fiancée, I would be worried about that lady being in my life on a permanent basis. Yeah.
We were in an actual relationship for 5 years.
He took the dog, and you want the dog back.
Yes.
His anxieties were surrounded by her grandson because of the fact that he would beat him. He sprayed hairspray in the dog's eyes.
You don't make that up.
I don't think he over-disciplined.
This is not a tea party, madam. This is when you have to listen.
This is Judy Justice. Deborah Borelli is suing her ex-boyfriend, Osmond Brown, for harassment, personal property, and her dog, Luca.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge.
Hello, Kim.
Case number 3086, Barrio versus Brown.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Borelli, you and Mr. Brown, according to you, had a friend's relationship for about 10 years.
Well, we were friends for the past about 5. We were in an actual relationship for 5 years.
Which 5 years?
The first 5, from 13 to 18.
And you lived together, and according to you, in 2018, something happened, that relationship changed. However, according to Mr. Brown, he continued to reside with you.
Yes, he lived on the couch.
Well, whatever. He continued to reside.
Yeah.
You continued to reside together.
We stayed very good friends, yes.
Very good friends. You stayed together for 10 years.
Yes.
And then an incident occurred, you separated, and now each of you have a claim that the other has property that belongs to them. That's long and short of this case. One of the items, Mr. Brown, I see that absolutely adorable dog. Will the dog be just as happy on the ground?
I don't know. I will try.
Okay. One of the things at issue is that adorable little dog. So it is your claim that the dog belongs to you, that when you and Mr. Brown separated, it was an acrimonious separation, and that you were forced to sign a document that gave him the dog, he took the dog, and you want the dog back. You also want back from him something called an oculus. Sarah, could you pull up what that looks like for me?
This is what it looks like.
Okay. An oculus is something that you put over your eyes, and takes you into another world?
Yes.
Is that what happens?
It belongs to my grandson.
Virtual
yes,
reality.
it's just
Hold on, what?
Virtual reality, they call it.
Do you use it?
No.
Do young people, kids use it? Is that what it's used for,
They're
Sarah?
popular. Pretty popular.
Popular?
Yeah.
Your other grandparents use it?
I don't think they'd be able to figure it out.
No. I know these grandparents don't use it. Do you have an Oculus?
My son has an Oculus.
And how old is he?
12.
12. Kevin, do you have an Oculus?
No, ma'am.
No. Out in the audience there, raise your hands if you own an Oculus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that some people who are adults, not old adults, but adults, do have these toys. You don't use it.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And it is your claim that in addition to the dog, Mr. Brown took the Oculus that belonged to your grandson.
Right.
Mr. Brown said he was given the Oculus because your grandson broke his tablet. And you want a little money for some traveling that she did that she promised to pay you back for. Is that right?
We
Is that right?
Yes.
You want some money for traveling?
Yes.
Okay. So let's deal with the dog first, since that to me is the most important issue. By the way, Miss Burrell, where's your grandson?
back in Buffalo.
Who is this?
His mother and my daughter.
She doesn't live with you,
No,
but the grandson lives with you.
he did. He stayed.
He did?
He stayed
when
with
you were
me.
together.
He goes back and forth.
And how old is he?
16.
Okay. Because one of the things Mr. Brown says is that the 16-year-old isn't very good with the dog.
Well, the dog, he is a chewer. He's chewed up a lot of my grandson's things.
Luca has chewed up your grandson's things.
Several of his headphones and earbuds, and he's chewed up our shoelaces. And so he tries to discipline the dog, and I don't really discipline dogs.
So you wouldn't necessarily, as a dog owner, discipline your dog the same way as your grandson has disciplined the dog. Did he ever hit him?
I don't think he's hit him hard. I mean, I think he may have tapped him on the butt a couple times, maybe done his nose a couple times. I don't know. He was very frustrated that he was constantly chewing his stuff.
Okay. How old is this dog?
He will be 2 in April.
When you got him, you and Mr. Brown were living together.
Yes.
I must tell you, Miss Burrell, the dog looks very happy with Mr. Brown.
He was very happy with me, too.
May have been. I'm sure he wasn't happy when your grandson was disciplining him different from the way most normal people and adults would discipline a dog. Because Mr. Brown is certainly going to tell me about other instances of discipline that he observed that your grandson inflicted on the dog.
I'm not aware of any
Okay, but you were aware enough, Miss Burrell, to tell me that in your home, the dog was disciplined in a way that you would never discipline a puppy, because a dog that's not quite 2 is still a young dog. Some chew things and some don't. All right.
Deborah Borelli claims her ex-boyfriend, Osmond Brown, owes for harassment, an Oculus headset, and the return of her dog, Luca. Osmond is countersuing Deborah for personal property and travel expenses.
Now, when was the dog purchased?
I got him on December 19th, 2022, as a birthday present for my other Pomsky. She's just like him and loves to play. And I have an old Shih Tzu that would not play with her. And then I came across a Facebook post about a woman who was getting rid of a dog that was swimming in her basement. Well, he lived in the basement. And when I contacted her, she said, I'll send you some pictures. And it was a couple pictures of Luca sitting on some stairs. And she said, oh, we went down in the basement the other day, and the basement was flooded, and he was swimming. I said, swimming? And she said, yeah, so we put him on the stairs. And I said, I'll be over.
So you took the
Osmond
dog.
and I went to look at him, and he made my other Pomsky a little nervous. So we went back, and Oz kept saying, you don't need another dog. She doesn't need a friend. She's got toys. You know, I said, I have to do something about this dog. The woman
And
was
Mr. Brown was with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went together?
To look. And he said no. So I came home, and I thought about it, and I kept in touch with that woman, and she said, if you don't take him, he's probably just going to go to a shelter. I talked to Oz again. I said, I have to go get this dog. I have to. He's living on stairs.
Okay.
And so I purchased him. He was not happy about it, but I purchased him.
For how much?
$240. It started at $500. I told her I couldn't do it. So
Okay. Mr. Brown, do you need a tissue?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Brown, first, do you recall, sir, going with Miss Borelli to pick up the dog?
Yes.
Were you with Miss Borelli when she purchased the dog?
Yeah, I bought the dog. I gave her the money to purchase the dog.
And where did you get the money from?
I worked
Okay.
at that time.
Does Miss Borelli work?
She worked periodically. I got her 2 jobs for a company that I worked with. They were contractual for 90 days. She did that twice. And then she worked for the census.
Okay.
Every 10 years.
He would like to go and say hello to her.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Okay. So when you went to pick up the dog, do you remember what month and year that was? Was that in December of 2022?
Yes, it was December of 2022.
And where did you take the money from?
My bank account at work.
Miss Borelli, who took out the money to pay for the dog?
he lent me the money.
Okay, so the answer is Mr. Brown paid for the dog then.
At that day, yeah.
Okay, fine. And when did you repay him for the money?
The following week.
Do you have any proof that you paid him back?
No, but he knows I did.
I didn't ask you what he knows. I asked you whether or not.
We didn't do receipts back then.
Okay, enough. You want to hold on to the dog for a second? Thank you. When you lived in the house for these 10 years, how much was the rent in the house?
There wasn't really rent. I pay a mortgage with my retirement from the post office.
Okay. And how much did Mr. Brown contribute towards that?
He had the gas and electric in his name.
Okay, so the gas...
And it varied.
Just a second. The utilities were in his name?
Yes. I paid the cable, the phone bill for 8 years, the mortgage.
Okay, there is a mortgage. And did he contribute anything towards the mortgage?
Not towards the mortgage, really.
But did he take money out of his bank or write you a check for anything other than the 2 utilities that you've said are in his name that he pays?
Yes, he gave me different amounts. At one time it was 3, 4.
So the answer is you actually lived in, as he put it, a domestic partnership for those 10 years.
It really was.
Okay, so let's be fair and easy about it. Now, Mr. Brown, what, if anything, did you observe with regard to Miss Borelli's grandson doing with the dog? By the way, the dog still chewing up your house?
I'm going to answer both questions, but first I'm going to answer the chewing of things first. The dog did have a problem chewing things because he had anxieties. His anxieties were surrounded by her grandson because of the fact that he would beat him. I'd sleep on the couch, like she said, for the last 5 years, I've been sleeping on the couch. When her grandson comes, he also sleeps on the couch. But sometimes in the middle of the night, like he's always on his computer doing something. So if he gets angry or something, he takes his frustrations out on the dog. The fact that I'm in the room and I'm sleeping and I let her know these things, she don't really discipline him. She just says, oh, this or oh, that.
He
sprayed hairspray in the dog's eyes one day and told her that he thought that it was his butt. That's what he told her. He thought he was spraying his butt. Why are you spraying his butt? You don't know his face from his butt, that you gonna spray him in the eyes?
What precipitated that?
I don't know. He's always trying to do things to the dog.
Did you see it?
I heard the spray and I heard the pss, pss, and I heard the dog doing this here with his eyes, so I know something happened.
Just a second.
You smell it, you can see it.
Just a second. Did you confront her grandson about it?
Yes.
What did you say to him?
I said, don't spray this dog in the eyes. I even went and told her he's spraying the dog in the face with eyes. He said he thought it was the dog's butt.
Did you hear him say that?
Yeah, he told her that.
Okay. Yeah, you don't make that up, madam.
He wouldn't have heard the spray. He's in a complete...
What I'm telling you is he wouldn't have made up that story. Miss Borelli, there are lots of stories that you make up. He's not that imaginative. There are a lot of ways that you can say you can abuse a dog, but spraying the dog in the eyes with spray, and then that remark that a 16-year-old wise guy might say, you don't make that up.
I told him a good way to discipline an animal, including a cat that's doing something bad, is you get a spray bottle and you fill it with water.
Yes. Just look at me. Don't look at him. You get a spray bottle and fill it with water, and?
And you can put it on a light mist and you spray them.
But this is not what he did. He didn't spray the dog with water.
I believe that's what he did.
No, that's not what he said. He didn't say spray the dog with water. But now we're getting to the fact that he did, in fact, spray the dog.
With water.
Okay. The dog is staying with him. Period. End of discussion. He paid for it, $240, and unless you have proof that you took out $240 that was paid for the dog.
He loves this dog
just a
so
second.
much.
But
Why
listen,
is he trying to sell it back to me for $3,000?
just a second.
I sold the house?
Let me tell you something.
Deborah Borelli is accusing her ex-boyfriend, Osmond Brown, of harassment and wrongfully keeping her dog, Luca. Osmond is countersuing for personal property and travel expenses.
By the way, can I see the piece of paper that she signed giving you the dog?
Yes.
The top half was ripped off. There was more writing on the top half of that.
I will let Osmond Brown take my dog, Luca, in order to get Desmond to leave my home forever.
The top half says something completely different than
May I?
ripped off.
I'd like to take a look at what you're showing me. This isn't this. This
no,
isn't.
I don't have that.
Well, this isn't it.
That,
this is
that
what
shows you that
just a
he's
second.
trying to sell me the dog back.
If you want to buy it back, you can buy it back.
For
If you want to-
$240?
Listen to me. He's got the dog. I will let him take the dog if he agrees to leave. That's what this document says.
Just for the day.
Just a second. That's not what this document says.
Because he's ripped it.
Just a second. You should have made a copy. It's ripped on both sides. Okay. Now, he wants the dog. He paid for the dog. As long as your 16-year-old grandson has access to your house, which you say that he does, the dog is staying with Mr. Brown. If it's his conscience as to whether or not he wants to sell it or not. Right now, the dog looks just fine. And I'm not sending this dog back to where there's a 16-year-old teenager who gets frustrated and takes out that frustration on a dog by over-disciplining the dog.
I don't think he over-disciplined.
This is not a tea party, madam. This is a ruling. This is when you have to listen.
Okay.
Kevin, get the dog and bring it to Mr. Brown. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There you go, good boy. Okay, now let's go to the Oculus. Mr. Brown, you have the Oculus.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't use it. That's what you told me before.
I don't use it. I have.
Just a second. You don't use it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you're going to give it back to the grandson because she doesn't use it. It was the grandson's Oculus. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now we have a counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that when you had this argument, you left the house and you left some things there.
Yes, ma'am.
The most important thing in this collection, because I'm not getting involved in a collection of 3 sport jerseys or 2 T-shirts. I'm not getting involved with that. But you say you left your watch there. Where did you leave your watch?
It's in her bedroom. I have 3 watches there. One has a pink face, one has a blue face, and one is a Rolex that she gave me that the battery broke.
Okay. You don't mention any other watch but a Rolex.
Yes, ma'am.
And the Rolex was given to you by the plaintiff?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
We were in a relationship.
Was it a birthday or a different event that you gave him the Rolex?
I didn't give him a watch.
Oh, can I see the watches, please? Whose watches were they?
I had bought them for an ex in New York City. We had gone to the Statue of Liberty and we were at Battery Park, and a man opened his raincoat and asked me, did I want watches?
Oh,
and
these
I
are
bought
the 2,
many of
just
them.
a second, and these are the 2 watches that you bought?
Yeah, lots of them.
But these are the 2
$30
men's,
a piece.
But these are the 2 men's watches that you bought?
Yes.
Okay.
So he...
Shh. Would you turn these men's watches over to the defendant, please?
Thank you.
No, they're not his. I never gave them to him.
Just a second. I'm giving them to him.
No, you can't. There's 2 of them there. I wanted him. He doesn't even know which one it was, and they're counterfeit.
Just a second. I understand that, counterfeit, madam. You just explained that to me. When somebody comes over to you in Washington Square Park and goes like this, want a real Rolex? I would suggest to you that you know.
I knew they were counterfeit, and I bought them for an ex. And we were going through some jewelry, and he saw it.
Okay.
And he said, these are nice Rolex.
Yeah.
They're not both his.
He's getting them both.
Oh,
Both
my
fake
God.
Rolexes. He's getting both fake Rolexes for which you paid $30.
Okay.
Now, what other expenses do you think she's responsible for?
So we planned a trip to Atlanta with me and her grandson and my mom.
When?
So we were supposed to go on October 28th. It was a non-refundable trip. So once I paid for it. Once I paid for it, she's supposed to pay her $850. She never paid her $850 because when she got her money, she threw me out the house and said she's not going on the trip. So that's when I told her I need that $850 back.
Just a second. You paid the $850 for what?
To fly to Atlanta.
Oh, to fly.
To fly, yes.
To fly.
Yes.
Okay. And that was just on a vacation trip?
Yes.
Okay. Did you go?
Yes.
Who else did you go with?
My mother.
And you flew there?
Yes.
And you knew she wasn't going, so what did you do with her tickets?
I couldn't do anything with her tickets. I left everything there. I told her on the phone she could still go. It's still there for you. You can still go. She said, I don't want to be in the same hotel with you or something like that.
She's not going.
So,
okay, you're taking the dog home. I expect the Oculus to be packed and take it to a post office, box it, and send it back to her grandson. Now, you want it to go to your house? The Oculus, do you want to your house?
But how will I know that he's not going to break it?
You know, because I'm telling him not to break it, to put it in a box and send it back. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, don't break it.
I won't.
He won't. Okay, we're done here. He gets the dog, you get your Oculus. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
It's the dog that's worth money, and that's why he wants it, because he's greedy and ruthless.
The only way I felt like I could help this dog is if I got her to sign him over to me so I could leave.
He's going to turn around and sell the dog. So it's going to be a beautiful Pomsky for sale.
No, this dog is part of our family. This dog is loved by 2 families now. He has a bunch of kids that love him and play with him, and either at my brother's house or at my house.
Because I rescued that dog. He did not want me to rescue that dog. That dog had a terrible life until I went and rescued him.
It's almost impossible to separate these domestic partnerships and property and what you spend. You know, you have courts set up for divorces, but you don't for living together as almost marrieds. But the papers indicated that he took the dog, and there's no question. He didn't say he's taking the dog for one day because she wanted him to leave. And she said the condition was she would give him the dog if he left the house forever. That was in the paper. And her statement that I was just giving him the dog for one day just doesn't fit with that. And he paid for the dog. The dog looks very well taken care of. And she acknowledged that the grandson did, in fact, abuse the dog.
Sure.
So it was a very easy decision. And the Oculus was made easy, actually, by him. When I said, do you use the Oculus? He said, no.
Give it back to its owner.
Give it back to its owner. Anyway, living together is never easy when you have to dissect it and divide it at the end of the day. It is your claim that the property was a mess.
Yes. I don't think it needed to be cleaned. It had been cleaned. There was dirt on the floor. There was bugs on the floor. There's black mold. I paid to have it cleaned.
The refrigerator is disgusting. The stove is disgusting. It's disgusting.
It was clean.
I'm telling you that the place was disgusting.
This is Judy Justice. Adriana Alonzio and Tanner Krugel are suing their former landlord, Faith Schmidt, for a security deposit and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 3121, Alonzio Krugel versus Schmidt.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tell me your last name.
Krugel.
This is your...
Fiance.
The two of you were moving from one state to another.
Correct.
You were moving with what other family members?
Our 4 children.
And you were moving from what state to what state?
Wisconsin to Minnesota.
Whose mother lives in Minnesota?
Mine does.
That's your mom?
Yes.
So you needed a place to live?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Sorry.
Your mother found a place, or did you?
I found the place initially.
You found the place?
Yes.
And your mother went to do a walkthrough to see if it was suitable for you and your 4 children?
Correct.
And found the defendants. Is it a home?
It's a single-family home.
That you own. When did you purchase it?
I believe I purchased it a month before I showed it to them. So no one had lived in it yet.
And when your mom looked at the place, it needed a good cleanup. And you acknowledged that, Ms. Schmidt, that it needed a good cleanup.
I do not.
Well, you sort of do in your answer, so that I want you to rethink what you just said to me. When you showed it to Mr. Krugel's mother, it needed a cleanup. You have to remember what you wrote in your answer. So if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
I don't think it needed to be cleaned. It had been cleaned.
I have it in your answer, but I'll get to it in a minute. So you loaded your kids. I assume you took a U-Haul or something of the like, and you agreed to rent the property.
Yes.
And you sent a month's security and a month's rent?
Yes.
In total, how much money did you send?
$3,000.
Which you received and deposited.
Correct.
What date did you send the money?
October 30th. I have the receipts for that as well.
Yeah, she acknowledges she took it. Now, up until that time, you had not signed a lease.
Correct.
And you acknowledge that. They had not signed a lease. When you got there, it is your claim that the property was a mess.
Yes.
And you actually did not move into the property and want your security and your rent back.
Correct.
That's what the case is about. And I'm not exactly sure of what your defense is, but you'll tell me. Is your defense that they had no lease or that they had a lease that they broke? What is your defense?
So we had an entire interaction. They actually did move into the property. They moved their belongings into the property.
Did you change the locks on the doors?
I did not.
At any time?
No. They're still the same locks that they were before.
You arrived on the property on what date?
November 13th.
Still no lease?
Correct. She mailed us the lease, and then we didn't have enough time to sign it and mail it back to her. And so we have in text message, she's saying we can just bring it with us, but we didn't want to sign it, so we...
Got it. So you got there on the 13th. I'd like you to describe what it looked like on the 13th.
Well, it was dark, so it was really hard to see anything. When we pulled up, the guys pulled the horse trailer in the back. So the guys were unloading that while Linda, myself, and my brother and the children started walking through the home, seeing where we were going to put everything. And that's when we started noticing, it was just disgusting.
Well, tell me.
There's dirt on the floor. There was bugs on the floor. There's black mold. There was water damage in the walls that she said.
Did you take any photographs?
I have a lot of photographs.
May I see them, please?
Yes.
And this was the day you were moving in your things?
Correct.
Or the next day?
The day we were starting to move in. And then once we started to
Just
notice...
Just a second. Some of these I'll ask you to address, some I won't. There's a lot of water damage. Kevin, would you show these photographs to Ms. Schmidt, please? I'll take them back now. Ms. Schmidt, from whom did you purchase this house?
Edina Realty.
Was it a person or was the house foreclosed?
It was a person.
And how much did you pay for it?
I don't recall the exact price.
Give me a ballpark figure.
I would prefer not to disclose.
I don't care what you prefer. Give me a figure.
Around $100,000.
What do you mean around $100,000? What kind of work do you do?
I am a landlord. I'm a business owner. I have rental properties.
Okay, so that's what you do as a living?
Yes, that is a recent business that I've started.
Great. If it's a recent business, how many homes do you have?
I have 4.
Is this the last one that you purchased?
Yes.
How much did you pay for it?
I believe it was 100,000 something. It was between 100,000 and 110,000.
Yes.
I have a picture from the Zillow ad that tells the date that she purchased the home and how much she purchased it for. I also have a text message of her acknowledging the fact that her dad and the kids that cleaned the house said it was not clean enough
Just a second.
before.
I'm not there yet.
Okay, sorry.
Well, the estimate for the house is $94,000. It's sold for $94,000. Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, in your answer to their request, which is their request for return of their deposit, or we're asking for a lot of other stuff, but it's for the return of their deposit, you say, since I had not even received the signed lease back yet, they were trespassing. That's what you wrote in your answer. I had the unit cleaned that same day. The next night on November 13th, I met them as well as the other adults. Who cleaned the unit the same day on the 13th?
So I paid one of my employees to clean the unit prior. I reached out after Linda entered the property.
No. Pay careful attention to my question.
I'm giving you a backstory.
I don't want a backstory.
Adriana Alonzio and Tanner Krugel claim their former landlord, Faith Schmidt, refuses to return their security deposits. Faith is countersuing for loss of income and harassment.
Now, you said the house was clean. Clearly, this is not a recently cleaned house.
I paid to have it cleaned, and then because Linda had complained,
you would acknowledge that these pictures that I showed you. Just a second, you don't talk over me. You do acknowledge that this house, as the photographs indicate, because they were only there for a day, the dead bugs, the black mold do not indicate a recently clean property.
Yes, ma'am. May I tell you more?
First, I'm asking you a question. You looked at the photographs, and you have to acknowledge that these photographs do not reflect a recently clean property ready for people to move into.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when they got there, the place was not clean. When they arrived there with their 4 children, the place...
It was clean. These pictures were not taken by them. They were taken by Linda. Linda entered the premises before they were even there. She was not supposed to be there.
Just a second.
On the 12th. They did not arrive until the 13th. Linda took these photos. Linda reached out to me. Linda said the property was not clean. I have text messages that I hired someone to go over there and clean it afterwards, which he cleaned the stove, the air conditioner, the freezer. And
show me. Okay, so now what you're saying is that the mother took these photographs.
Correct.
And after she called you and said that the place is not clean.
While I was working, I was doing something else. I immediately sent someone over there before I had any communication with Tanner or Adriana.
Just a second. Fine. I want you to understand this. These 2 people traveled from one state to another with 4 children, ranging in age from
8 to, at the time, 14 months.
They wanted a place to live. They needed a place to live. If what you're telling me is that this is not a fair and accurate representation of what the place looked like when they got there.
It did not look like that when Tanner and Adriana arrived to the premises. It looked like that when Linda got there, which I was notified of, and immediately sent someone over to clean the premises.
Who?
I sent a hired kid. His name was Alex.
Is that you?
No.
Just a second. You just raised your hand. She said, I immediately sent somebody over there. I said, is that you? You raised your hand.
I also sent my dad over to ensure that the employee, he had done a good job cleaning. While I was doing something else, he also sent me videos of him cleaning out the freezer.
Just a second. I would like to see whatever photographs you have of what the place looked like before they got there. Show me. You already have a complaint, and you're a landlord. You have a complaint that the place was disgusting.
Correct.
And you have 1 day to clean it all up.
Yep.
Not yep, that's a yes.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't bring me the person who cleaned it. I assume you have photographs now that you know that there's a complaint. I assume you have photographs of what the place looked like when they arrived. That means no.
I didn't take photographs after, no.
Well, that's too bad.
I do have an inspection, though. A past inspection that says there is no mold in the home, and I've not made any alterations.
Just a second. Do you have that inspection for me to see?
Yes, ma'am.
On or about the 13th of November?
No.
No. Okay. Ms. Schmidt, this is not a difficult case. Either they had a lease or they didn't. In your answer, you said since they didn't have a lease, they were in fact trespassing.
They had no intention to sign the lease.
Just a second. No. You are incorrect, because that's not common sense. Common sense would suggest that people who are traveling across state borders with 4 small children need a place to live. They sent mother-in-law to look for a place to live.
And she said it was very nice.
Just a second. They sent her, I don't know what assurances they had with regard to cleaning it out. I don't know what her level of cleanliness is, but I know I wouldn't move into this place after having paid somebody $3,000. This place is disgusting. The refrigerator is disgusting. The stove is disgusting. The bugs are disgusting. The wood is disgusting. It's disgusting. Now, you want to be a slum landlord. That's your problem. But either they have a lease or they don't have a lease. If they don't have a lease, then they get their money back because they didn't move in to live. That's not difficult, sir, is it?
No, but I'd like to say something.
Sure, stand up and say whatever you like and uncross your arms when you do it.
Okay. When she called and said that Linda had called to complain about the place, So I did go up there and I met with Linda.
Linda is mother.
Correct.
And?
Correct. And we talked and we went over what the problems were. And so, as to my knowledge, we agreed on the fix. And I seen to it that we had a couple people come over and clean.
Before or after lunch, sir? Did you have it cleaned with a couple of people before or after you and a couple of people had lunch?
I don't know what lunch has to do with it. I don't know nothing about
I know what lunch has to do with it. So you knew there was a problem and you went to the house on the 12th, according to you. They were due there on the 13th and the place was disgusting. You would agree with that?
Yeah, I don't agree with the mold because the city of Spring Valley has inspectors that come around and inspect for mold.
I'm telling you that the place was disgusting. It was not a place where you moved into dozens of properties in my life, both inexpensive and expensive. The inexpensive ones, when I moved in, were clean.
Sure.
That's the way when I moved out of a property, I left it. If your daughter wants to be in business for herself, then she's got to learn how to be in business a good way.
Sure.
Okay? You have to acknowledge she knew that these people were coming across state lines. They were coming across with little children because Linda let you know that.
I don't know anything about that.
You don't know who was moving in?
No, it's.
Oh, just.
It's not.
Did you know who was moving in, Ms. Schmidt?
I didn't meet them personally. I met with Linda.
That's not what I asked you. Did Linda tell you that her son, her son's partner, and 4 children were moving into the house?
Yes.
Of course. This is not the way you expect a house to be. Common sense would indicate that you would then, after your father and his crew cleaned it, you would take photographs to show that it was not in this condition anymore.
Adriana Alonzio and Tanner Krugel are accusing their former landlord, Faith Schmidt, of renting them an uninhabitable property. Faith is countersuing, claiming the couple owes her for loss of income.
Now, I'm coming back to you. Either they have a lease or they don't have a lease.
We had a verbal agreement.
No, you have to have a lease in order to keep their security deposit. Did you have a lease? You said they had no lease, they were trespassing because you told them to get out.
So then they were trespassing.
Yes,
they were on my property without my permission.
Then they get their money back. What is so hard about that? Either they have a lease or they don't have a lease. You can't say they're trespassing on your property because at one point, part of the thing that they're suing about is because you went into the house and you came out with a handgun. Is that right?
Correct.
Correct. And because you felt as if you needed a handgun to defuse the situation that was developing on the 13th. Whatever it was, they left. They get their security deposit back and their month's rent. And if you want to be a big girl in a big girl's business, you got to do the right thing. This is not the right thing. Okay. You want to tell me, Ms. Schmidt, why you felt it necessary? Because I'm going to get rid of that part of your claim very quickly. Why you felt it necessary to come out with a gun on the 13th?
So when I went in there in an attempt to resolve the issues that they were complaining about the night of the 13th, I brought the walkthrough paperwork and we were going to fill out a walkthrough with everything that needed to be addressed. Instead of accomplishing that, we were in...
Okay, so what room did you go into first?
I walked through the back door off the porch into the kitchen.
What did they complain about in the kitchen?
They complained about the cleaning.
What specifically about the cleaning?
They complained about the dirt behind the fridge. They complained about the state of the fridge.
What was the state of the fridge?
There were stains in the back of the fridge that were not coming off with any cleaning.
What else?
They complained about the stove.
And what about the stove?
The inside of the stove.
That it was filthy?
Correct.
Okay. And did you see that the inside of the stove was filthy?
Not on that day.
No. You know, I don't believe...
On the 13th, it was not filthy. It was cleaned by Alex. I had cleaned. Those were... the stove and the fridge was very important to me that he cleaned those. We also talked about getting them new appliances because they weren't satisfactory. I was going above and beyond to appease them, and I told them that I would look for new appliances, that I wouldn't be able to provide them overnight, but that I would be looking for them and provide them with new appliances.
She has that in text.
That she was going to provide new appliances?
Yes. Correct.
Because the ones that were existing were unsatisfactory. Yeah. They get their security deposit back, $3,000. Your counterclaim is ludicrous. Lost income, damages due to false claims, rent, utilities, and harassment. How did they harass you?
She has reported my Facebook account, so I no longer can advertise. So I've had to do alternative routes of advertising. Before, it never cost me anything to advertise. Now I have to pay for advertising through the newspaper. I bought a rental sign. I've done things.
What was the harassment? She complained about what happened to her family when they came to this property that they were renting.
Harassment wasn't the word that I would use.
Well, what would you use?
She's dragging my name through the mud. She's going to the local bars. I have heard from
Just a second. You can't tell me rumors. If you have somebody who can testify that she said something about what?
My dad can testify because his employees are telling him.
He can't tell me what his employees. Listen to me. He can't tell me what his employees are telling him. He can tell me if they said something to him. So what? Did you finally find a place to live?
No, we have not.
Since November?
Correct.
Where are you staying?
Right now, we're staying at my parents' house. We had to move back to Wisconsin, so we are on air mattresses in my parents' family room.
Why were you moving?
To be closer to his family.
Anybody have a job?
He had a job, a potential job lined up.
In Minnesota?
Correct, yes.
What kind of work?
Property maintenance management.
What are you doing now?
Nothing right now. I started a new job in Milwaukee on Monday.
He had to turn down a really good job offer in Minnesota because we didn't have a
That's all. I just asked him what he was doing now, not woulda, shoulda, coulda. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. Counterclaim, whatever it is for, I don't even know, is dismissed. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
I did offer them 3/4 of their deposit back.
We wanted it all back. We didn't live there.
I put forth my best effort to find them new appliances, to hire someone to do cleaning. I believe I went above and beyond.
We had a verbal agreement that the house was going to be in livable condition, and as you can tell by the pictures, it was not livable.
Differently in the future, I think instead of hiring someone to clean, I'm probably going to clean myself, and I'm going to take photo evidence and videos of everything.
She knew a month ahead of time that we were coming, so it's not like it was sprung onto her the day before like she's trying to claim.
I'm not going to go out of my way to give them access to the property before I'm there. I'm going to do the walkthrough and ensure the lease is signed before they have access to the property to avoid this.
Being a landlord is not the job for her.
You know, I remember moving in somewhere when I was a junior in college, and, you know, they always take advantage of us college students. We'll live anywhere, sleep anywhere, we don't really care. But it wasn't clean when my roommate and I moved in. And I remember when we did the walkthrough thinking that if I ever became a landlord or, you know, anything in this realm of realty, that I would make sure that all the places that I would expect other people not only to live, but to pay money for, was up to the standard of somewhere that I would live. And I think that the defendant couldn't even say that she would be willing to move in there and live there in the condition that it was in either on the 12th or the 13th. You know, that's a big deal.
Yeah, they wanted a place to live.
So I think her claim that they never planned on signing the lease or they were trying to take advantage of her, I don't believe any of that. No mother packs up an 18-month-old for no reason.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they were hoping to make a new life. It didn't work out. Yeah, she's a young person to have a little real estate business, 4 properties that she owns, and I give her credit for that. But she can't be a slumlord.
Yeah, I give her credit too.
Yeah.
But if you want 4 properties, they have to be 4 properties that you'd be willing to live in yourself, not
That's
subpar.
the answer. That's the answer. You wanted to have the car customized and wanted an enhanced radio?
She wanted to make her sound louder.
My radio doesn't work. He cut a wire in my car door.
Oh, wait a minute.
There's so much more.
It's not my problem.
I still have no music.
Well,
I have that in
King Kong on the
writing.
door panel, of course it's gonna rip off.
What are you, all crazy? Where do you think you are, in a pool hall?
This is Judy Justice. Heather Villanueva is suing business owner Joshua Alvarado for a custom car wrap on audio system and ambient lighting.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Judge, case 3154, Villanueva versus Alvarez.
Ms. Villanueva, you purchased a car for business purposes.
Yes, ma'am.
And you wanted to have the car customized, so you found the defendant and you brought him the car for the purposes of several things. For the purpose of having a glitter wrap
Yes, ma'am.
put on the car, and to upgrade a stereo and mood lighting.
Ambient lighting, yes, ma'am.
All in the hopes of attracting rental business.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car do you drive?
2019 Mercedes-Benz C300.
And the car that you purchased for this business was a 2018.
No, ma'am, it is the 2019 C300 that I purchased.
Well, how are you going to use it for business if it's your only car?
Well, because I wasn't able to post it on Turo, I never went and bought a second vehicle, so I don't have
just a
two
second.
payments.
So what you intended to do was to purchase a second vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In any event, you brought the car to the defendant, and according to your complaint, he did, in fact, put on this wrap.
Yes, ma'am.
But he put it on defectively, and he charged you $3,400?
Yes, ma'am, for the first set.
Did he charge you any other money other
Yes,
than
ma'am.
the $3,400? What did he charge you for?
Another $600 for another roll of material to wrap it a second time.
Okay, so right now, in that, you had a $4,000 investment, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're suing him for $7,500, alleging that everything he did in the car was defective.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First, let's deal with the biggest item, which was the wrap.
Mm-hmm.
What color was the car when you got it?
It was called Brilliant Blue.
What was wrong with it?
Nothing. It just wasn't. It was just blue. I wanted the glitter. And that is why I reached out to find somebody that could put the custom glitter wrap on it that I wanted. There was nothing wrong with the paint. It was absolutely immaculate. There was only 9,400 miles on the car when I purchased it.
So now you wanted glitter on it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you purchased the glitter wrap yourself?
No, ma'am.
Who did?
He purchased it. Mr. Alvarado purchased everything.
Mr. Alvarado, did you purchase the wrap?
Yes.
The wrap didn't stay on the car.
No.
But you bought the wrap.
Yeah. I went over it with her. And
talk to me about...
Yeah, I went over it with her about what wrap she wanted. It was between a glitter wrap or a chameleon wrap, color shift. I gave her options because I told her from the beginning that this glitter wrap is very cheap. I tried to give her options.
You gave her options?
I gave her options.
But one of the options that you gave her was this glitter wrap?
Yes.
Okay, and you purchased it?
I purchased it, yes.
And it came off?
It came off.
And it came off, according to her, almost immediately?
Yeah, about an hour.
And she notified you right away?
Right away.
And so what did you do?
I told her to bring the car back to me, like ASAP, so we can see what we can do to fix it.
And she did?
No.
Within days?
Within days.
And?
And we spoke about pricing, and I told her that in order to fix it, she would have to buy another row. I would not charge her labor, and I would give her a discount to her man's car, because I was supposed to wrap his car too.
In any event, it was going to cost her another roll of wrap.
Yes, $550.
And what happened?
I wrapped the car.
Again?
Again.
So first you have to take off the other
Yes.
wrap.
I removed it completely.
And put on the new wrap.
Put on the new wrap.
When did you do that?
We're talking in weeks.
Okay. So she paid you in full, which was primarily for the wrap, $3,400, plus she spent an additional $550 for a second wrap.
Yes, but she didn't pay me in full. It was first deposit, and then the rest when the whole car, everything was completed.
But she paid you the whole thing.
But she paid me the whole thing,
That's
yeah.
what I said. She paid you the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened?
Wrapped the car. It took me 3 days to wrap a car, 16-hour days. I actually brought my witness here today, my mom. It was 3 in the morning. She just came back from a trip to the airport. She called me and she asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm wrapping the car right now.
What do I care about this?
I'm just telling you no, because...
what does this have to do with the case?
Because my time is precious in, labor.
This is your business.
It's my business, yes.
Your business. The first one was defective. It came off.
Yes.
And it was material that you purchased.
Yes.
And it came off within hours of driving it.
Yes.
So she paid you primarily for that, $3,400, which included the cost of the material. And then she paid an additional $550.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't care what, 3 o'clock, your mother,
Okay.
Who cares?
All right.
Who cares? And how did that wrap turn out?
It turned out great.
Shh, just a second.
Heather Villanueva claims business owner Joshua Alvarado owes for a custom car wrap, an audio system, and ambient lighting.
Now, what else did you do for the car, Mr. Alvarado?
I did speakers, audio.
Okay, speakers.
Yep.
Did you purchase speakers?
Yes.
Did she reimburse you, or did you purchase those yourself?
No, I didn't purchase speakers. I purchased an amp because she fried the first one.
You purchased an amp?
Amp, yeah.
I don't understand that. The car came with a radio and a
Yeah,
stereo.
it came with a stock radio, yes.
And she wanted an enhanced radio?
Yeah, she wanted to make her sound louder.
And in order to do that, tell me what you have to do.
I had to replace the factory door speakers, and I had to bypass the factory amp inside the car and go with the aftermarket amp.
That was really pretty stupid of you.
Yes, ma'am. In hindsight, it is.
Even to ask for it was pretty ridiculous.
The music just wasn't loud. That's why I asked. I didn't want any extra bass in the trunk. I didn't want my windows to shake. I just wanted more clarity in the music in the car. That's
negative.
Shh, just a second. Also ridiculous.
That may well be.
Also ridiculous. Okay. What was wrong with the fixed music?
No music plays from my car. I have tons of text messages where I would send him and say, hey, I have no music. And he would say, turn down your master volume in your amp. I was never able to turn up any maximum volume.
May I see those emails to him with regard to the music?
Yes, ma'am. I also did want to mention when he said that he removed the first wrap entirely, he did not. The roof of my car is still wrapped in the first wrap. The body of my car is wrapped in a second, completely different color wrap. I also have photos of that.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't that what we wanted?
No, sir. I wanted the same color wrap all over my entire car.
Talk to each other. If you want to talk to each other, I'll put you outside. You can do that. What is this hole a picture of?
That's where my hood ornament blew off of my car as soon as I left, and then the wrap started blowing up towards the windshield.
Got it. Okay, so this was the first wrap.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Clearly defective.
Here is a text message where he mentions there's warranty on the audio. If anything happens, I can fix it.
May I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
What are these wires here, sir? Can you see this from where you are?
Yeah, that's wires, yeah.
I see they're wires.
Yeah.
From what?
That's for the amp.
That's how my trunk is, ma'am.
Yeah, that's for the amp, yeah.
What does that mean?
It's for an aftermarket amp, for the speakers. The only reason why I left it like that is because we've talked about putting bass in her car. You know.
This is a mess.
Yeah, well, she was supposed to come back in a couple of days and get it fixed.
Can I see those, please? You have a picture of the car now?
There is a current photograph of what the car looks like right now. It's the matte black that's inside of there. It's a front-on photograph.
It was a lovely color blue, right?
That's the car when I purchased it. That's the day I bought it.
And could you tell me why you wanted it this color, which is god ugly?
So the color that I had asked for, actually, this is what I sent him, showing him what I was looking for. These are the chameleon options that I said I didn't want. I just wanted the black glitter. Right here, he's agreeing the black diamond will turn heads.
Is the car currently painted in the color that you wanted?
No, ma'am. That right now is what my car currently looks like. The wrap is lifting, it is peeling, it is bubbling. There are places where it is cracked and completely falling apart.
Okay, now let me ask you a couple of questions about how you found the defendant.
Yes, ma'am. I had put an ad on our local, like a Facebook word of mouth for our local area, asking for recommendations on somebody that could do wrap, audio, and ambient lighting, so I don't just go to one person, all in one shop. And there was several responses telling me to reach out to the defendant, and that I did.
Just curious, several responses from people that you knew?
No, ma'am. It's like a local word of mouth group where you ask people for advice or you ask for recommendations on where people have taken their vehicles or people that they've
used. Did you check on any of these people who sent you the defendant's name?
No, ma'am. I didn't research any of the people for recommendations, no.
Okay. Now, you would acknowledge that your initial work on the car was defective?
No, not at all. Did she give you a picture of what the car looked like when it left my house?
It could have looked like that, but hours later, the wrap came off.
And then I offered to do it for free again.
Did you understand what I just said?
Yes, I did.
Pay careful attention.
All right.
I said you would acknowledge that the initial work you did on the car was defective.
Yes.
And the initial work you did on the car being defective at least cost her the cost of a second roll of wrap of $550.
Yes.
Good. See how far we're getting? Now, the plaintiff says that the second wrap that you did is also coming off.
Yes.
Tell me when she called you and let you know that the second wrap you put on the car was coming off.
September 28th.
And when had you put it on?
I had put it on
July 6th.
July 6th.
So what did you tell her?
I didn't tell her anything.
Well, you said you found out on September 28th.
Yes.
How did you find out?
She texted me that saying that, and
Oh, okay. So she communicated with you
she communicated.
that the second wrap was defective.
Yes.
Well, coming off.
Yes.
And what did you tell her?
I didn't tell her anything.
Why?
I felt like I was being used.
Well, Mr. Alvarado, how could you feel as if you're being used? She spent so far $4,000 to have her car customized. The primary thing that she was doing was changing the color of the car.
Yes.
You did it twice, and twice it was defective.
Yes.
Both times. And
Yes.
she paid you for your labor.
She paid me for my labor.
She paid you for your labor, and she paid for the materials.
Yes.
And right now she has a defective car because it's coming off.
Yes.
Yeah. Who should be responsible for that? Me?
No. I hope not me either, because
Why not? You're the one who did it.
Oh.
Who should be responsible? You think Whitney should be responsible?
No,
How about Sarah?
I did it. I was responsible. I take full responsibility in the beginning. That's why I offered to do the car for free. My brother came down from North Carolina. I had to pay him out of my own pocket to come from North Carolina. My brother, he's been a rapper for 10 years. You know, he's the one that taught me how to rap and do other stuff, and I know that's nothing to do with it.
It
doesn't. So he came, and he got his time. We got the car done, and whatever the case is. And then when she came and picked up the car, I told her, you can give me the rest of the money or you can't. That's why I only asked her for a deposit. If she didn't like the car, she wouldn't have left the house with the car. Okay, that's fine. She give me the money, she left the house with the car.
Heather Villanueva has accused business owner Joshua Alvarado of improperly installing her custom car wrap and audio system. Joshua claims he fixed the car multiple times for free.
You haven't gotten anywhere, sir.
Yeah,
you haven't gotten anywhere.
I'm getting
your
to
mother
it.
Your mother wants to tell you something. She doesn't have the floor yet.
Yeah.
And since I'm old, get to the point.
Okay,
so
get
far,
to the point.
Chatter.
You're right.
She
okay,
paid
so I
you.
told her before I even wrapped the car, the first time I told her to take care of the car. Do not leave the car under the sun. It's a fully wrapped car. Do not drive the car anywhere. You know, she asked me if she can even pressure wash the car. I said, no, we cannot do that. You know, it's a material. You shouldn't be pressure washing anything with a material. It would come right off. She left the car in the sun. I actually brought some stuff here as evidence to show you that I've, that says that you should not leave a car underneath the sun, especially if it's 99 degrees outside, because it is adhesive. And there's sometimes I come to her house and the car is parked outside the front lawn, and I went to her house multiple times to come and fix the car. I fixed parts on her car that were broken. I paid money out of my pocket.
Well, let's go back there. So far, she brought you a car.
Yes.
And she spent $4,000.
$4,000, yes.
And she still has a car that is wrapped defectively, where it's peeling off, okay? So I want you to tell me what you did at her house in addition to any of the other work.
Yes.
Tell me.
For example...
Just a second. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, I'm taking a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
The main part of this problem, sir, is a defective job of putting on the wrap.
Yes.
That's your responsibility.
Yes.
Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't have said to her, get another roll of wrap. You pay for it. You put it on. It was defective. And if you had to bring your brother, who was an expert in wrapping, that is not my problem.
Oh, wait a minute.
That is not my problem.
I didn't ask her from the beginning. It's not my problem. I actually went to war with her with the company, and I fought with the company for the warranty to come in effect.
She came in for a product. You put on the product. The job was defective. She paid you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me about the loose wires and the fact that she has no radio.
So I installed aftermarket speakers in her doors. I put an aftermarket amp. Everything was going good. I even played it at my house. I'm actually, I'm an automotive technician. I worked for multiple mechanic shops, multiple audio shops. So that's my field of training and of my profession. I love to install music. So when I install music in her car, I put an amp in her trunk. She was turning the volume all the way up when I told her it's not tuned yet because she wanted to add a 12-inch or 10-inch sub. And we never got around to adding a boombox or whatever a subwoofer to her car. It's because, they wanted to get it free off of me. And I told him I can't do that. I told him I don't keep inventory at my house, and you have to order everything in, and then I could do it for you. So they wanted basically everything, the music free, the audio free, and I didn't charge her for none of the audio stuff. That $4,000 is just for the rap material. Everything else is free. The music, the lighting, the Mercedes symbol up front, everything is free. The only thing you're seeing as what she paid for is the rap material.
The $4,000?
Yes.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff, $4,000.
Ma'am.
We're done.
Ma'am, there's so much more. My radio doesn't work. He cut a wire in my car door.
Pay careful attention to me. You paid him $4,000. Did you pay him more? Answer my question. Did you pay him more than $4,000?
No, ma'am, I did not. I have to pay to have all of those aluminum wires taken out of my car. I still have no music. He clipped the wire to my back window. Mercedes wants $812 to fix it. He said, don't pay them, I'll fix it.
When you go King Kong on the door panel, of course it's going to rip off. I mean, obviously.
The wire's spliced, ma'am. I have it in writing.
What are you all crazy? Where do you think you are, in a pool hall? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of exactly what she paid him, which includes his labor because it was defective, $4,000. This case is over.
This court is adjourned.
I'm an honest man, and I like to help people as much as I can. I take full responsibility of what I did, and, I'm very sorry, but, so much I can do. I'm only human, so.
The moment that I got the first critical battery message on my phone, and when he called my partner and told him that this might be a bit more than I can handle.
It gets to a point where when you be used so much that you just like, I gotta let it go and move on, so.
And everywhere we've taken the car, we have been notified like, oh, I know this car because this guy was running around begging people for help.
No, I can't make everybody happy. That's all it is, man.
I don't know what my paint looks like under it, but I do know that my car was gorgeous when I brought it to him, and now it would look better in the bottom of a lake as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not so sure I agree with your ruling on that one.
Okay.
The wrap, 100% defective. He did it once, he did it twice, still defective. We saw photos. He claims it's defective, she claims it's defective, no issue. However, you only granted her the $4,000 that she had paid him in the beginning to do what she thought was an all-in project. He says it was just for the wrap, whatever the case may be. He admitted to replacing the stereo system and the audio. We saw the photos of the wires that look like a complete mess in the trunk of the car. We saw the cut wires of how he had to replace the stereo system. So I don't understand how you can grant her the $4,000 for his defective work, but only for a portion of the work. I understand she never paid more than the $4,000 to him for any of the other work, but he still did it. I would have liked to at least see an estimate of what it would cost to fix all of those problems beyond the $4,000 that she paid, because she's now out of pocket because of his defective behavior that you ruled in favor of his defective behavior.
Reasonable argument.
Yeah, so I just think that she shouldn't be left holding the bag for something that he clearly admitted to doing. I understand that, the wrap is one thing. The other things maybe she didn't pay for. Maybe it was in his mind included in the $4,000, whatever it may be. She wouldn't have had those problems.
She told him what she wanted with regard to the music system.
Yes.
That she wanted it out because it should play.
Whatever the case may be.
Whatever.
She's now out of pocket to fix all of these issues that she would not have had
you mean the stereo issue?
Exactly. Had he not been defective in his installation. So I would have considered that.
You would have considered the
additional cost that she has now because of his defective work.
Right.
Yeah. Just a thought.
You walked up to her and you punched her.
I don't agree with that.
Are you making any excuses for that?
They had each other's hair.
I'm done with you. Put him out.
Okay, let's roll. Because my child ain't standing here without me.
You can take her if you want.
This is Judy Justice. Sophia Johnson and her husband, Christopher Anderson, are suing Devontae Greer for medical bills, property damage, and lost wages caused by an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please. Uncross your arms.
Judge, case 3183, Johnson Anderson versus Greer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You weren't present during any of the activities that you allege in this petition. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Nor were you.
Correct.
You're her parents.
Correct.
You can sit down. You can step up.
Okay.
And You were not present during any of the activities that are alleged in this petition. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
How are you related to the defendant?
I am her uncle and her guardian.
You can have a seat.
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up. Your first name is?
My first name is Marley.
And yours?
Justice.
How old are you?
I'm 15.
And you?
14.
How long have you known each other?
We met each other this year.
Who was new to the school?
Me.
You were?
Yes.
Just this past semester?
Yes.
Okay. Marley, this petition says that you had some difficulty with the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
And that she assaulted you, that you were injured, and that was not far from school.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'd like you to keep your voice up and tell me when this happened.
Okay. This all started September 21st in 2023.
December 21st, and I want you to do something. You know, young people know how to listen to each other when they talk fast. I am no longer young. You don't have to speak in slow motion, but speak the way I'm speaking.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Good. December 21st.
Okay, September 21st, 2023, me and Justice took a class together, and it was our last period class. We were taking a test, and our teacher had stepped out the room for a second.
Yep, you're talking fast.
Okay.
Your teacher asked?
No, our teacher had stepped out of class for a second, and me and my friend started talking. When the teacher arrived back in the classroom, she said, "Stop talking to us." We stopped talking, but Justice and her friend were continuing to talking behind us. So my teacher told me to bring her my test, and I was going to receive a 0 for the test.
Okay.
And then I told her that that was not me talking. So my teacher told me to point at who was talking. So I pointed at Justice.
Was Justice talking?
Yes.
You remember this incident?
Yes.
Were you talking? Look at me. If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory, right? Because one way or another, he's taking down everything, and this is not my first rodeo. So I'm going to ask you a question. After the teacher told them to stop talking, did you continue to talk?
No.
Okay. Did you hear Marley tell the teacher that you were talking?
Yes.
And when Marley told the teacher that you were the one talking, did the teacher ask you if you were the one talking?
No.
What did she do?
I really don't remember what did she do, but...
We're not talking about 5 years ago. We're talking about an important event. Something bad happened to you as a result of this event. What do you mean you don't remember? Look at me. What happened after Marley told the teacher that she wasn't talking, you were?
I got angry, because...
You got angry?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not unreasonable. You got angry because?
She pointed at me, and I wasn't talking, and she told the teacher I was. It wasn't me.
So did you tell the teacher it wasn't you?
Yes.
And what did the teacher do? Come on, come on.
I'm trying to think.
Hey, just a second. Has this happened to you before in school?
Yes.
Oh, well, I was going to say, if it hadn't happened to you before, I would say that this is an important event, but it's happened to you before. What did the teacher do with regard to your test?
I don't know. I think she took the test, too. She told me I couldn't take it anymore.
Okay. And what did you say to her?
I said, "Don't point at me." And she pointed at me again, and I said something like...
Let me hear what you said to her.
I called her a B word.
Okay, and you said that in class?
Yes.
Okay. And then the class was ultimately over?
Yes.
Tell me what happened after class.
Well, after class, me and Justice got in, it was an altercation, but it was verbal.
In the classroom?
Yes, and our teacher sent an administrator to come get us out of class and talk about it. And
Okay, because you started yelling at each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
In front of your teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
The administrator told us, is it a big deal or not? Me and her both agreed it wasn't a big deal. It was dead right there. So then I'm walking to the bus lane. So I was waiting at the bus, and then next thing I know, somebody got my hair, and I'm getting punched.
Sophia Johnson and her husband, Christopher Anderson, claimed Devontae Greer owes for damages after his 14-year-old niece attacked their 15-year-old daughter at school.
Who got your hair, did you see?
I didn't know who grabbed my hair because I was turned one way, and when I was turned this way, somebody grabbed my hair and punched me. And then when I turned around, it was Justice.
Was there anybody else there other than you and Justice?
Yes, it was the whole school. It was dismissal, so everybody was going to their buses.
Was anybody around Justice when you saw her and you got punched?
No, because when I turned around, I started defending myself, so everybody moved back, but everybody was recording.
Okay. Justice, have you seen these recordings?
Yes, I seen one.
Well, you want to tell me what happened at the bus stop?
Can I, like, rewind back before?
Of course.
Okay, like, when we talked it out or whatever with the administrator, and I thought we were cool, like, after we got done having, yeah. So it was time for dismissal to go out to, like, the buses and stuff. And I see her in the hallway with her friends, and I walked past her, and she stopped me. She was like, "We good or something? Like, we good?" I'm like, "Yes, we good. Like, everything cool." So I'm walking out to the buses or whatever, and...
Look here. Don't go there. Look here. You're walking out to the bus, and...
Yeah, and it's like a little spot where people sit to wait for their buses and stuff. But I didn't see her after, like, we said we was good and stuff. So someone came up to me and told me, like, she wanted to fight me and all of this. And I'm like, we just squashed it in, like, the class, and we talked about it, so I don't understand why she go back and, like... So I, like, walked up to her, I tapped her, I asked her, I'm like...
No, you walked up to her.
Yeah, it wasn't like a... trying to check her or anything. It was just like asking her, did she like say all that stuff? Like, I didn't get mad, get rude or nothing. I asked her respectfully, like, did she say anything, like any of that stuff? She said yes. So she turned around and then I forgot what I said. I think I was like, you said I didn't want to fight you or nothing, so do you want to fight me now? Because you said I didn't want to fight you. So I'm asking you, do you want to fight? So she put her hand in my face. She turned around, she said, girl. So, like, I felt like I should defend myself. She put her hand in my face.
This is your guardian, right?
Yes.
He's going to stand up next to you. Very careful what you tell me, because there's video of it all. I want you to show me what you mean when you say she put her hand in your face. Show me.
Like, she did this and turned.
Now you can sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
She put her hand up and she turned around to walk in the other direction, like this. I want to know where you hit her.
In her head.
Okay. Now, after you hit her in her head, did you start to fight with each other?
Yes, I
You started to fight?
Yes.
And people started to videotape the fight?
Yes.
Did you have any friends there?
I was standing by my friend, but then when she walked up and when she had hit me, she moved away, and it was just us two fighting, and then the crowd formed, and it was just like everybody was there.
Did you hit her?
Yes.
How many times?
We was fighting a long time.
Did you hit her?
Yes.
How many times?
I can't count.
Have you ever been in a fight before?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
The same year?
No.
Year before?
Middle school.
Ever been in a fight before?
Yes.
When?
Probably like middle school.
You're a mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever get into a fight?
No, nothing.
Physical?
No, ma'am.
Sit down. Did you ever get into a physical fight with anybody?
Negative.
Ever get into a fight, Whitney? I'm just curious.
No.
You know how bizarre this sounds to me? Really bizarre. Now I'll see the video. Who's in the white? I can hardly tell.
That's Justice. That's being attacked by the adult officer.
And you're in the dark, top, fighting with the officer. Right? Well, he's trying to pull you off and you're not letting go. That's what I see. Am I seeing that wrong?
Justice is holding her hair.
Just a second.
They had each other's hair.
By the way, I just thought maybe I misheard that.
Ma'am?
Did you say something about the officer attacking her?
There was an officer in the video punching Justice in her head. Yes, ma'am, I did say that. Yes, there is.
Yeah, just a second. Are you making any excuses for that behavior?
I'm saying that a grown adult has no right to punch a child, so that's not an
They're
excuse.
killing each other.
I'm not a
They're
fool, but
killing
a
each
grown-
other.
you as an adult would punch
Just a second.
child.
I would never have a child that was involved in that kind of behavior.
Well,
that's what you should, just a second. That's what you should be dealing with. You too. That's what you should be dealing with.
Well,
Children.
There's a bullying situation. You only can take so much bullying. When you're a new student and you don't know anybody in the school, you just started a week or two prior to that, yeah.
Lost. Didn't you understand? I'm not excusing the fight, but there was no fight until the punch. Do you understand that? Forget bullying, forget. There was no fight until the punch.
There's ways to be attacked without and feel offended, and people are coming into your private, personal space without them throwing a blow at you. So I don't agree with that.
Well, I don't give a rat's behind what you agree with, sir. Okay. I'm going to tell you that she didn't go into her space. She went into her space. She walked up to the bus stop.
Can you show me
That's
that in
what
the video? They were both at the bus stop. She touches the bus just as well.
Sir, why don't you listen to what your ward told me?
Sophia Johnson and her husband, Christopher Anderson, are accusing Devontae Greer's 14-year-old niece of starting a fight by punching their 15-year-old daughter at school.
She told me that girls had come and yada, yada, yada in her ear, that she was saying nasty stuff about her.
Okay.
That sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
Okay.
Your ward told me that she went to where she was.
No, she said that there was a coincidence and they ended in the same spot. Those are her exact
Lost.
words. Those
Lost.
are her exact words. Verbatim.
You're lost.
Those
You're
are her
lost.
words
I don't know who
verbatim.
made you her guardian. I don't know who made you her guardian. Some fool.
I wish we could rewind, because that's what she said. We ended in the same space by coincidence, because they both catch the bus.
I'm walking out to the buses or whatever, but I didn't see her after, and we said we were good and stuff. So someone came up to me and said everything she was saying. She wanted to fight me, all of this. And I'm like, we just squashed it in class, and we talked about it. So I don't understand why she would go back and like, yeah. So I see her outside. So I walked up to her, tapped her.
I walked up to her. And?
It was asking her, did you say all that stuff when we just squashed it? I asked her. I didn't get mad or rude or nothing. I was like, you said you didn't want to fight me. Do you want to fight? She put her hand in my face and said, girl. So I felt like I should defend myself. She put her hand in my face.
I never put my hand in her face.
Who took that video?
It was posted on Instagram and they sent it to me. So that's how I got it.
Do you know who posted it on Instagram? It has to have
I don't know exact who, but it was one of her friends.
Is it one of your friends who posted it on Instagram?
Well, it was a lot of people reposting the video. That's were my friends that were reposting the video, but the account, we never knew who actually posted the video.
Your Honor, if I may?
Sure, you can.
If you look at the beginning of the video, whoever's recording, knowing what's going to happen because it's a little boy walking by, she's like, move, move. You see Marley is literally on her phone with her book bag, her purse.
I didn't see that.
Yes, ma'am. So at the beginning, you can see the
Well,
girl
just a second. Can we go back and slow motion that?
standing behind Marley and just attack her.
Where does she pull her
Shh. Oh, just a second. Can we slow motion that again, please? Justice, you see that back in long black pants, long black hair, and the white shirt. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're going to do it in slow motion. Slow. So you're walking slow, slow, slow. You want to see that again, Justice?
I seen it.
Just a second.
You don't see Marley
Just a
in the
second.
video at all.
No, that looks to me as if you walked up to her and your hand came back and you punched her. That's what I see.
What I said I did.
No, I don't want to hear from you. I'm done with you. You want to do that again? Let's do it slow motion again. You're walking up to her, and as you're walking up to her, you pull your right arm back and punch her. That's what that looks like.
I never said I didn't do that. I told you exactly.
I didn't see any. Girl, did you talk to me? Did you really want to fight me? I want to fight you. Hands in your face. I didn't see any of that, Justice. I just saw you walking up to her, and as you were walking up to her, pulling your hand back and punching her. That's what that video shows. Do you want to see it again?
I've seen it multiple times.
Well, you can imagine whatever you want. It's not fantasy land. That's what that shows. Not all this palaver before that you've sold him on.
She didn't sell me.
Kevin, put him out.
This way, sir.
Put him out.
You can come right with me.
Put him out. You can
'Cause I'm
take
not
her if you
standing here
want.
without
You
my
can
child.
take her if you want.
Okay, let's roll. Because my child ain't standing here without me.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're done.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
After seeing the video only depicts part of the truth. The conversation was actually had before that.
The video was clear as day that she hit Marley. Marley was engaged in her phone, in her own world, and she came behind her and attacked her.
Well, this was a classic case of a bully beatdown. Someone who picks on you, intimidates you, and then when they get those hands or they take that beat down, then they want to come to the courts and play all those games.
It was no bullying.
I would say violence is not the answer, but if somebody picking on you and you got to give them them hands, hey, so be it.
Keep your hands to yourself.
You know, I sat in the family court long enough to know that with that kind of guardian, even if she was redeemable at her young age, it's going to be a long haul. Because the only thing that he found offensive was what he said the officer was behaving improperly. I don't remember what he said, punched her.
Yeah.
There was nothing in that video that suggested that the two officers was trying to do anything but pull these two girls apart, and they wouldn't let go.
Putting themselves in harm's way, and now a mob of students who are recording, who are hyped up, all because of your child's actions. So maybe you focus on that instead of the actions of others who were doing nothing more than try to discipline your child because they didn't know how to act.
Right. And there was no question when you watched that in slow motion that she came up to her and sucker punched her from behind. Well, that has to stop.
It's crazy.
She really got hurt. And the person who was supposed to give this young lady sound advice is blabbering in her ear that she was a victim. She was a victim because she's just in the school and she was being